Com.
Hi friends, Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Jewelers. Did you know that September has one of the most beautiful and desirable birthstones of all the gemstones that nature created? That's right, the sapphire is September's birthstone, and if your lady has a birthday this month or an anniversary, a stunning gift of jewelry with a gorgeous blue sapphire in it would make you brownie points for a long time. A ring or a bracelet, earrings or a pendant, you cannot make a mistake with a little box from Russell Brothers that has an exquisite piece of sapphire and diamond jewelry right in the center. And when she puts it on and you see that smile, you will know that you made the perfect selection. Fine jewelry is never out of style, and a gift from our large collection of sapphire jewelry accented with diamonds will keep her eyes sparkling for a long time. At Russell Brothers Jewelers, we've been offering the finest in beauty, quality, value, and service to Memphians and Mid-Southerners for almost 35 years. Come see us and let us show you what a full-service jewelry store looks like. Russell Brothers Jewelers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins.
First Bank is here to help you, whether you're a business looking for a loan to expand or refinance an existing one, a homeowner looking for a mortgage or home equity line, a consumer wanting to finance your dream car, or wanting a competitive rate on your CD deposits. Let First Bank try to handle your banking needs. Stop into one of First Bank's 3 local branches today, 6482 Poplar Avenue just east of International Paper, 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase, and 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or check them out online at firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, and Brett Stats Norsworthy.
Welcome in. Another busy, hot day. I think we're going to get a little relief this weekend. I hope we're going to get a little relief this weekend, but it's another scorcher. There was, I think, the hottest September 16th yesterday that we had in like 4 or 5 years. Crazy stuff. Nice to have you aboard. I start the show with some sad news today. A real philanthropist for this town. A guy who was a businessman in this town who employed many. Ira Littman, who was 78 years old, had just been diagnosed with cancer, passed away today in New York City. If you know that name is familiar, but you're not sure the company that he founded, it was called Guardsmark. That's security all over the place. It was a worldwide company. At the time that Ira Littman sold it, there were 17,000 U.S. employees, 2,000 of them based in Memphis. He was a real giver, particularly in the Jewish community, and it is sad news. So his family, and I think most of them are now in New York, where he passed, our sincere prayers, thoughts, and certainly grievances for Ira Littman. He will be very, very much missed. Seems like we have way too many of these. I guess it's all about getting older, and your friends with the passing do pass as well. And so sad news today for a lot of people who Ira Littman touched over the years. In the meantime, I did this thing, and I only wrote down the names of those that I think people would know, okay? So, Brett, listen to this. Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger, Nick Foles, Cam Newton, Drew Lock, Joe Webb, Chad Henne, Trevor Siemian, Sam Darnold, Marcus Mariota, Nate Sudfeld, Nathan Peterman, Blaine Gabbert, Colt McCoy, Alex Smith. All quarterbacks. All on the injured list. 15 of them that I just named. There's about 3 more I did not name.
Through 2 weeks.
Through 2 weeks. Now, one of the things that I just learned, too, last night, watching Monday Night Football, I did not realize how dangerous mono is when you get older. And in particular, it is dangerous for a football player because one of the symptoms of mono in an older person is that their spleen is enlarged. And so that would make it easier for there to be some injury caused that spleen. That is why they will not let Sam Darnold play for at least a month. So the Jets are really down to their third-string quarterback.
Yes, Simeon's out for the year.
Simeon's going for the year. Ooh, that looks so ugly. When that happened, there was no bone sticking out, but there was another Monday night that made me cringe, and that was a little bit like it. You made the point, and you're so right. We're trying to protect quarterbacks. How in the world are there this many injuries?
Football breaks out. And that last night, it was I think it was a penalty on that play, wasn't it? Was he a step late?
I can't remember.
But it was not dirty.
By the way, that game was one of the worst Monday Night Football games.
It was a snoozer.
We had last week. Both of them were really good games.
Mm-hmm.
There were a bunch of good games this weekend, but that was just a terrible game. The Jets are horrible. The Dolphins are even worse now that they've traded Fitzpatrick away again for more draft choices.
Dave, can you remember a year in the NFL where after 2 weeks, used to the tanking word was not associated with the NFL, even down the stretch of the year, because it just really didn't matter. And so many players manipulating their way out of places. A blockbuster trade in the NFL just almost never used to occur in season.
I agree.
And it's why today I think it's remote. I think it's very remote. But we could see, I just don't know. It'd be pure speculation on my part. But we could see by the end of the year, Eli Manning on a playoff contending team. And it won't be the New York Giants.
Well, I don't think the New York Giants are going to be a playoff contending team, personally. I maybe the thing about I will give you this. I started looking at his numbers and read some stories about him.
A bunch of what ifs.
After
what if
the Bears?
What if Aaron Rodgers got hurt? What if pure speculation and probably irresponsible. What if Sunday Tom Brady got hurt in the inner sanctum of the Patriots organization? Look, we can win it all again this year, but we can't with that backup. Why not Eli Manning? Why not Cam Newton if Cam Newton is at all?
Well, he's hurt now.
Able. He's probably not able. New Orleans. Would that not be a great story if Drew Brees couldn't come back in 6 weeks? I think Eli Manning, just guessing, I think Eli Manning will take his medicine. He will be the backup Sunday.
Oh, he's definitely going to do that.
He'll do it the high road fashion, and I think he wants to retire a New York Giant.
Maybe. The question you're asking me is he good enough? So
no, I didn't ask that. I didn't ask that.
Well,
I don't know that his skills have diminished.
Well, to me, that when you're saying would he go somewhere else, the question is he good enough to go somewhere else?
I think he'd take somewhere really cozy.
First off, it's got to have a great offensive line, because the thing about him, from everything that I'm reading and hearing about Eli, is he could still. It's not like his brother, where the neck really affected his arm strength. He can still throw the football, but he can't move like he used to.
He needs a cozy pocket.
So, and he's got a terrible offensive line in New York.
No receivers.
That's part of the reason why they've been bad. Right. All right. So the bottom line is this year, if you look at his numbers, he had 556 yards passing the football, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. He threw at 63%. So 556 in 2 games and 2 touchdowns at 63% is pretty good. The key stat that gets him here is 0-2, and they need a guy, I guess, who's more mobile, and they figure
it's time.
This is not going to work out. Let's see what we got with this number 6 overall pick.
Now, for Daniel Jones, here's what I warn against. He's going to be the starter this Sunday, and I hope it works well for him. I'm not going to be that guy. They're sure not going to be those people. I hope it works well for him. But behind that offensive line with those receivers and that defense, Eli Manning could be the starter next week.
True. And maybe they figured it this way. If they got off to a bad start, we'll see it won't matter. We know that Eli's not going to be really much after this year anyway.
I thought he'd take a little more. I thought 04,
You thought he'd get a
05.
little bit more look.
Yeah, this is not unfair.
Here,
no. People don't. Eli Manning will be just fine. And I'm not talking about monetarily. His id and super ego, he will be just fine.
My question for you, because I've heard this debated a whole bunch today, all over the place, is Eli Manning a Hall of Fame quarterback? 2 Super Bowl MVPs is a great start.
One of only 5 to be multiple-time MVP winner of the Super Bowl.
56,000 yards, more than that, almost 56,537. He had 362 touchdowns.
Yeah, those both are in top 10.
241 picks.
In a pass-happy era.
Right.
I'm not so sure Eli wouldn't have been better suited to be the workman-like functionary quarterback of the 70s, riding that I formation, riding that tailback, riding that one receiver and one-man routes, max protect, ride your defense. I'm not so sure that he might have not been better suited to play in the Phil Simms New York Giant era.
He might have been. But these numbers are still...
But he played when he played.
At the top of his class. And he played when he played. That's the only time he could play. And
we win the Masters, obviously.
The only thing that in football is so team-oriented, you are so married to your team. And he had great defenses the years that they won Super
defense.
Bowls.
Straight hand.
Right.
Manure.
Yeah, just terrific. But
JPP and the third phase, the phase you love. Remember the key play in winning at Candlestick in the NFC Championship game for the second one out there. And Eli played great that day and took a pounding in the last game ever in the mud hole that was Candlestick. But remember the key play? Fumble in the punt recovery.
Mm-hmm.
It took all 3 phases for Eli in his Super Bowl runs. It did.
And the other thing about him is his overall record is barely above 500.
And I mentioned yesterday Joe Namath was below 500, and he just won 1.
That's true. But he was the face of a league that merged into another league.
There were a lot of factors
so
why he went in.
Those are outside factors, not necessarily just related to the
argument
game.
Here. My answer to Eli is yes, he will go in the Hall of Fame. I don't think it'll be the first class right after the 5-year waiting period. You know Peyton will. Peyton's going to go in.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
If it's not 100% of the vote, what are you waiting on for Peyton in the class of 21? I don't know that he goes in first year. I don't know that he goes in second year, but he will eventually go in, and this is no slight whatsoever, and it took too long for Kenny Stabler to go in. But if Kenny Stabler's in Canton, Eli Manning's going.
The numbers would say that he should. 2 Super Bowl MVPs.
And if you go in, that means you deserve
56,000. I mean, look at his numbers. You know, the basic test I always ask myself is, at your position, were you in the top 2%, 5% of whatever class you were in? I think you could say, if you look at those sheer numbers, Eli is there. There are going to be some that are going to go, look, his defense, and you just mentioned special teams, that won him Super Bowls. He was barely over 500. There's going to be detractors, but I think the evidence pretty much tells you, when you look at all of them,
I think
he's a Hall of Fame
I think
guy.
he's going in someday, but I don't think it'll be in the first class.
Yep.
And it may not be in the second one. I don't know when Ben Roethlisberger goes in, but it'll be pretty soon. Drew Brees will go in the first class. And look, Canton's getting ready to let 20 people in next year.
I'm also going to say the guy had a 15-year run. If you look at what I just read, there's 15 named quarterbacks. I think there were 2 or 3 others I didn't even write down that I got from the IR for this week. Like Mariota's questionable. But all these other, they're second week and this many guys are going down. The football, the quarterback position, even though we're trying to protect it, is getting just smeared.
Which makes Brady even more remarkable.
Oh, it does. Honestly, I don't know how the guy does it. Except he's got a great workout regimen and stretching regimen that he does in the off season. And he's, one of the things that Bill Belichick has provided is he's had protection. He's had good offensive lines. And the truth is that has not been the case, especially the last 2 or 3 years for Eli Manning. And it really hasn't been the case for a guy like, let's just say, who's not on the injured reserve list, but Mitch Trubisky. He, up until last year, really didn't have much time at all, especially his rookie year.
Name me a Hall of Famer that's played in the offensive line in front of Tom Brady that would surefire will go in.
That's been an offensive lineman?
For Tom Brady in his Patriots years.
I can't tell you.
There's not one.
It's called unity. It's called teamwork.
It is.
And that's coaching. And that's, you got to give Bill Belichick and his staff all the credit in the world for that.
A running back.
Have you ever seen Tom Brady get smoked? Have you really seen him?
Well, the play that he got his knee shredded, the rules changed because of it.
Right.
You can't
But
go low.
But for the most part, when a guy's been around for 17 years or whatever it is Brady's been around, he's hardly been touched. Now, some of that is he gets rid of the ball in a hurry.
He does.
He's smart and he knows where he's going with the ball.
That play where he's looking out the ear hole and the sides dug into his helmet and the jerseys pulled down over the shoulder pad flap and he gets up starry-eyed, there just hadn't been any.
Not many. Not many at all.
There haven't been many.
And they protect him.
They do protect him. And you made the point, Gronk probably would have broken if he would have stayed, but still the all-time leading receiver in New England Patriots history, Stanley Morgan, and the all-time leading rusher is still Sam Bam Cunningham.
That's hard to believe. And
Brady walks into Canton. You could make a case. I've said it jokingly after last year's Super Bowl. I think I'm going to be more serious about it. If he wins it again this year, if he goes 7-2 in another Super Bowl, waive the 5-year and put him in as the active player. What more you got to do?
Well, I think
golfers go in as actives.
He already
college basketball guys go in as actives.
They do.
I don't know if either's a good precedent to set, and I don't think one would be anywhere near a precedent.
Well, obviously a player never does. It's only a coach in college basketball that goes in while active.
Mm-hmm.
How many golfers have? Tiger? Phil?
I don't know that Tiger has.
Is Tiger not in the Hall of Fame? If Phil is, how is Tiger not?
Davis Love did. Couples did. But
Tiger's got to be in.
No, Tiger's not in the Hall of Fame.
He is not in the Hall of Fame yet? How did Phil Mickelson go in before he did?
They may have changed that since then, but no, Tiger is not. I mean, what are they waiting on?
I guess his approval.
Good way to sell tables at the banquet.
I would think his approval. Maybe he just doesn't want to go in yet.
This portion of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Give them a call at 901-362-8833. Lexus of Memphis offering the Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Great offers on all 2019 models. 2020s are rolling in, and special lease options always at Lexus of Memphis. If you ever thought, I'd look great in a Lexus, well, guess what? Lexus of Memphis thinks you would look great in a Lexus as well. Drive in luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2019 or 2020 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving in style. Lexus of Memphis, the highest standards in the industry. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design that makes for the luxury driving experience. 362-8833, online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, that is all the news about the quarterbacks. All these injured quarterbacks, and today was announced Cam Newton's got a foot issue, and he is out indefinitely, and that makes the Carolina Panthers a very, very iffy team.
Great player. It's been had a lot of injuries.
Man, well, he's never been the same since his Super Bowl MVP year. He never, I think, got into that same sort of rhythm.
Did they ever have a great receiver around him? Olsen's always hurt at tight end.
Yeah,
he's good when he's in, but he's always hurt.
I don't know. And then, of course, the benching of Eli. Daniel Jones gets his shot now. And, it's been a great run for Eli.
So that's 5 Super Bowl wins.
15-year run, 38 years old. And I agree with you. I read, I don't know if it was a quote from the GM or maybe it was Eli before this announcement, but after the game when they lost on Sunday, where he goes, I'm just going to do my job. Whatever that is, whatever they tell me, I will do my job. I don't think he would. Let's just say the Giants did get an offer they couldn't refuse from some team. The Bears, the Steelers.
The Saints.
Hometown
Hometown Saints.
Okay, true.
The Titans.
I would have to think that Eli would go, yeah, I'll play. I'm not going to just retire as a Giant. You can re-sign me in a year or two, and I'll retire in a Giants uniform. I would think if he got the chance to play again, he would do it.
I don't know.
This year.
I don't know that he would or wouldn't, but the Titans are going to be looking for a quarterback in the offseason, I think, because Mariota has not proven to be that much or any better than Jameis Winston.
Well, the problem with Marcus, I think he really can be a good quarterback. He just is hurt all the time. And again, he's questionable for this week with a quad.
He hangs on to the ball a long time.
And maybe that's the issue as to why he gets hurt all the time. He was a good runner in college.
He was. My top story, the playoffs have started in Major League Baseball. No, the bunting, the ceremonial flags and banners aren't out, but it started. And this is what is scary for the Dodgers. And we've seen this before. They've had it sewn up in effect since May, it feels like. But now they have to stay sharp while the rest of that National League is battling and in playoff mode. It was no problem for the Red Sox last year. And the Red Sox last year, let's remember this. They went through Yankees, Astros, and Dodgers to win it.
Yeah, that was something.
And went through them easily.
I've always thought it was the team that's hot at the end that has the best chance of winning. And in the case of the Dodgers this year, if you're resting and you're not really playing hard, you would think that would be a worry. But as you just pointed out, the Red Sox did the same thing last year and went through the best.
Not top story of the day.
Well, this really came out last night at the Touchdown Club of Memphis, where Mike Norvell was showing off the new digs on the South Campus at the University of Memphis, the Murphy Complex. And then when he gave his speech to that Touchdown Club, a guy who's been very hesitant about disclosing any kind of injuries came forth and said, Pop Williams, punt returner, second leading receiver on the University of Memphis team, is out for the year. And I worried about this, and I think I mentioned it to you. I can't remember if it was on the air or not. The injury came, when you saw the replay of it, on a non-contact play. In other words, he went to cut with his knee. We know it's his knee. And the knee went out. When you have a non-contact injury, normally it's one you're out for the year, it seems to me. And that's exactly what happened here. So that's sad. But there is a silver lining. He has a redshirt year. He's never used one. So he will be back next season. And now I've been looking forward to seeing a guy with world-class speed, and I'm not making that up. He is on the United States Junior Olympic team as a sprinter, and that is Calvin Austin, who, of course, went to Harding High School here. He had we looked it up, was it like 9 returns for touchdowns from kicks and punts?
9 or 8. It was about, it probably was 9. I think it was 5 kickoffs and 4 punts.
Something like that, yeah. It was right in that neighborhood. Now, he did return one where I thought he was going to make a move, and he moved to the side instead of forward. Had he gone forward, he might have really broken off a big one. He'll get experience, but it'll be interesting to see what Calvin does as the punt returner.
My not top story, Reggie Bush set to return to the L.A. Coliseum as part of the Fox broadcast team to do the Utah-USC game. I was stunned that USC had to issue a formal statement saying that they had checked with the NCAA and it was okay for him to appear there in a work capacity. Well, he can't buy a ticket to a game? He can't show up and if he were, I don't think he would, but if he were just an employee working at the stadium, the NCAA doesn't supersede anything. Why's USC having to check with it?
Well, I guess it goes back to the extra benefits that he received that got them in hot water, and they want to be sure that he's cleared now to come. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
What if they didn't
But it has
check?
to go back from that.
What if they didn't check? The NCAA going to get on to him for that man showing up for work?
They're going to give him another year of probation because the guy came back? He's working, by the way.
In one of these days, it may take a long, long time, he will be welcome back in the community of nations at USC.
USC's got some weird communications, let's put it that way. I mean, they keep bringing guys back, and then they unceremoniously sort of tell them to get lost, like Pat Hayden, like Lynn Swan.
Mike Garrett.
Didn't they do the same thing to John Robinson?
We're leaving one big one out.
OJ?
OJ.
Well, OJ's persona non grata everywhere.
Can OJ show at the Coliseum?
He buys a ticket.
But Reggie Bush has to get permission?
No, OJ's not working, though.
No.
It is weird the way they do theirs at Southern Cal. Anyway, those are your top and your not top stories today. We got a busy show coming up here in just a minute. Gabe Kuhn will join us. We'll talk some Tiger football. Then Brent Beard on college football. That comes your way at 4. Jeff Moore on the National Football League at 4:30. Same thing with Bo Marchant from collegetopro.com. He comes your way at 5. Steve Earhart from the AutoZone Liberty Bowl at 5:30. They got this new thing they're going to use in the game. It's an app where you get to call plays. I think you can win prizes. It's not what the technology was that the Alliance of American Football was going to use, but it is a new deal. And I don't know if ESPN's getting involved in this thing as well, but it'll be interesting. So we'll talk with Steve Earhart about that. And then at 5:50, it will be crunch time. We are sitting in the Family Leisure Studios. Always happy to be here. Always happy to urge you to go find deals at the Family Leisure, which is I-40 and Whidden Road, and right now in the middle of what they're telling me is going to be the best spa sale of this year. And when I look at some of these numbers, they got 50 spas in stock, all ready to ship. But when I see an $8,000 spa for $44.99, I've never seen them go that low. They're doing it. 4-person spa starting at $24.99. Swim spas starting under $9,000. It is, indeed, the lowest prices I've seen all year, and they've got special financing available. Just head to Family Leisure, I-40 and Whidden Road. That's where 70,000 square feet of family and fun and this terrific spa sale is all going on. Back in just a minute. We are underway on this, the Tuesday edition of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats.
Take Sports 56 with you on your phone or tablet. Download our official Sports 56 app today.
Frontier Western Store's world-famous boot showroom is waiting for you. With aisles and aisles of boots in one easy spot, you will find your next favorite pair at Frontier. Everyone loves Ariat boots, and Frontier has over 1,000 pair in that brand alone. Come grab a pair of rugged work boots like the Workhog, or discover an everyday classic in Ariat's Rambler. Tons of other brands as well: Rocky, Dan Post, Red Wing, Durango, Justin, Twisted X, and many more. Frontier constantly restocks and refreshes their lineup of boots, so you're certain to walk out of the store happy in your new comfortable footwear. They have a wide assortment of sizes available for men, women, and children. Work, dress, or play, Frontier's knowledgeable staff will cheerfully help you find the perfect fit. It's boots galore at Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road, Olive Branch, or on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Family owned and operated, you know it, since 1967.
Gun enthusiasts in the Mid-South know all about guns and ammo at 3615 Summer and 577 Goodman Road, Suite 4 at the corner of Goodman and Elmore in South Haven, because they carry the largest selection of both guns and ammo in the area. They are authorized dealers of Colt, Benelli, CZ, Smith & Wesson, Glock, Ruger, Sig Sauer, Vergara, and a lot more. If you or someone you know is looking for something for self-defense, competition, hunting, or just something that goes boom, then get to Guns and Ammo, 3615 Summer in Memphis and 577 Goodman Road, Suite 4 at the corner of Goodman and Elmore in South Haven. Did you know Davis Motorhome Mart is one of the top 10 Tiffin dealers in the U.S.? Come tour the 7.5 acres of beautiful travel trailers, motorhomes, fifth wheels, and toy hauler towables half-tons. Motorhomes from 27 feet up to 45 feet from brands like Winnebago, Coachman, Puma, Highland Ridge, and Tiffin. Take advantage of Davis Motorhome Mart's big blowout sale on 2019s and 2020s on their way. Stop by your gateway to travel freedom. Davis Motorhome Mart at 1145 East Brooks Road in Memphis. Call 901-332-3414 and cruise by the website davismotorhomes.com.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Now, back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Wolochen and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome back in. Nice to have you aboard on this Tuesday. This is the time of the show that we bring in Gabe Kuhn. I just mentioned the not top story of the day for me actually came yesterday when Mike Norvell announced to the Touchdown Club that there's not going to be Pop Williams for the rest of the year. Gabe's going to let us know all about that in just 1 second.
We talk Tigers every Tuesday with Gabe Kuhn, brought to you by ATC Fitness, Tactical Investments, Wolf Chase Nissan, Wolf Chase Honda, Stereo One, and Pop's Comfort Kitchen.
Gabe?
Man, that hurt me to see. I love Pop, too. Pop's a good guy and a hard worker and has sort of put himself into that, leadership role in the offseason. It just sucks to see that type of stuff. But I know that he'll, bring the guys behind him along. And I think they're going to find some production out of it, whether it's Travion Samuel, whether it's, you have to bring in a group of guys, whether it's, Calvin Austin. Whoever they put in there, I know will have some type of production.
Well, I believe Austin is going to be your punt returner because he didn't make any mistakes, and I think they are now a little bit more trusting of his hands back there. I don't know. I think Taj Washington might have a chance. He's a guy I think they're high on.
This is definitely something they did not envision or plan for.
But here's the good news, and I do want to reiterate this. He has never taken a redshirt year. So Pop will come back next year. And you just talked about what a hard worker he is, which tells me he will work through, I'm guessing it's an ACL or an MCL.
Something like that.
And he'll be back and as good as ever because with the new technology they have and the way they work you out now, he will be fine.
Yeah, and I think he'll come back for another year. Obviously, there was definitely the Senior Bowl watch list that he's been on. Yeah. He's gotten some definite, the special teams looks for the NFL. But I think, with an injury like this, he'll come back. And with him, I just know he'll come back and be able to play and be able to produce probably at a high level.
This 3-0, it was pretty easy, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the defense, 250 total yards given up to the other team. They absolutely took away anything Cephas Johnson, that quarterback, wanted to do. He was scared. I mean, he didn't know anything to do. They took Trey Minter out early, never got to the run game. Offensively, there's things they definitely need to clean up. But defensively, if they can keep producing at that high of a level, I think this can be so big for this, not just this team, but this program moving forward.
12 quarters football, one sketchy one on defense, first quarter against Southern?
Maybe.
That would, I think, would be accurate. Now, one of the things I really liked about this was the physicality. So far, and I'm not even going to count Southern because they should be more physical than Southern, but they were certainly equal to the physicality of the big guys from Ole Miss.
I would say that first half.
Ole Miss was bigger in weights, but Memphis was equal to the task of pushing folks around. And then in this game, I know Mike thought that defensive line was going to be very, very hard for them to run on because they had shut down Nebraska. And that offensive line, your old buddies there, they were pushing people around, man.
And I know with an old line when you get a story like was published, a couple days before, you get a chip on your shoulder. You get a chip on your shoulder that I think there was the story about how Silverfield said this was going to be a big challenge. And certainly those guys stepped up to the plate. And I can't talk enough about how much Silverfield has helped this run game since he's gotten to Memphis. He's had an 1,000-yard rush, 3 1,000-yard rushers, a 2,000-yard rusher, and it just keeps rolling. I mean, he hasn't really skipped a beat running the ball this year, even though he's had to replace and replenish that entire line. And, I think it has to do with recruiting. I think it has to do with what he's teaching them up front, but it can't be overstated enough. He has done an awesome job with that O-line.
The other thing, and you mentioned, I think, Brett or you did, Trey Minter being knocked out of the game. That was their best
scary
weapon because he was their leading runner, their leading receiver, their leading punt and kick returner. He did everything for them. Carlito Gonzalez is one tough dude. Hey, I will say this. This is going back, and I want to talk depth with you too, but this goes back to one of the initial conversations I had with Adam Fuller. I said, Adam, you really must be deep because I see Carlito Gonzalez is listed as a 3. He's the third teamer over there at the strong safety spot. And when I first talked to Chris Ball and he mentioned, we got this guy, Carlito Gonzalez, this kid has a chance to play on Sundays. And he's your third.
Yep.
And now we see what he's talking about. That was a clean blow, but I mean, he knocked Minter out of the game.
Yeah, and all those safeties on that team nowadays, when you look at that strong safety position, they can hit. Sanchez Blake is a just rough and tumble guy. He will come down and absolutely smack you. And Carlito, he was one of those guys, he showed up right before I ended up leaving. And he was, correct me if I'm wrong, he was from Auburn.
Yes.
He was from Auburn. He was with
It was a transfer.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember if it was Auburn or LSU. It was one of those two.
Coxie was LSU.
Coxie was LSU,
and then he was Auburn.
That's a pretty good transfer, too.
Yeah, and we knew, just looking at him, he's just this tall, rangy guy. You knew he was going to be able to do something eventually. Obviously, he was raw when I was there, and it looks like he's starting to get it and starting to come around and understanding this defense.
All right, we know the problem Navy gives a defense. Their splits that they give to a defense with their offense, with their defensive line for the big guys like you, how do you prepare for their splits and their shifting?
You know what they do is they try to keep everything in front of you. So if you go out with your plan, they're going to take advantage of your mistakes. That's the thing you have to know up front. So you can't be a team that's going to be, missing assignments and everything. So the fits they give you are based purely off of you. If you decide that you're going to miss your assignments, they're going to take advantage. But other than that, this is a team that really just takes, just make sure they keep everything in front of them. I mean, they're not very aggressive. They don't try to bring a bunch of linebackers. They try to keep everything in front.
It'll be interesting to me. Chris Ball had a different philosophy, and Memphis really struggled, especially during the Justin Fuente years, with figuring out how to stop that option.
Yep.
And Mike and Chris Ball, I think, had a better plan for it. Now, what they did most of the time was you had those hybrid positions. You had the defensive end that was really kind of a linebacker. You had the linebacker who was really kind of a safety, and that was where Austin Hall was incredible. So that what they did when they played Navy was they went against that, and they basically played a traditional 4-3. And they moved Austin into the middle like a middle linebacker, and they kept, and I can't remember who it was, but the guy that was the hybrid on the defensive end side that was a hybrid linebacker defensive end, they made him a defensive end. Now, that was what Ball did. Adam Fuller has a whole different way of thinking. I don't know if he will change a darn thing. He probably will keep it the way he normally keeps it and come up with some different wrinkles. I have no idea, but I'm curious what your thoughts are.
It's just assignment football. So he can do the same thing as long as they make their tech. The problem is when you get into a triple option attack, if you miss tackles, that is going to kill you quicker than anything because there's been so many times, and obviously with Fuente it was different. It seemed like they sort of had everyone, was open. They were able to do whatever they wanted out on the edge.
Well, he struggled when he went to Florida, Virginia Tech. He always struggled with Georgia Tech, too, that option. He couldn't stop that either.
Yeah, but I find it interesting when you get into games like this, tackling is just the main thing and staying on assignment. I don't think he has to go out of the box and do anything crazy. He doesn't have to switch up the whole scheme like we saw with Chris Paul. He doesn't have to do that. As long as his guys make their tackles and stay on their assignments, it will be fine. But as soon as you start missing tackles, that Navy defense, and I think they scored 45 on ECU this weekend.
42. 42.
Yeah,
Well,
42.
they scored 45 on, was it Richmond, I think?
Yeah.
They played an FCS school.
But yeah, I mean, this team looks a little better than they did last year, for sure.
Holy Cross.
Holy Cross?
Yeah, they've had 8 penalties all year. You know what you're going to get. It's very straight ahead. How does the scout team replicate it? How do they get ready?
They try.
They got extra time.
Try.
That's a tough scout week.
Yeah, that they try. And the thing is, I wonder, like with the cutting, how they do that in practice, because you cannot replicate that, and you don't want to hurt anybody before the game and everything like that.
When you say that, explain what you mean. You're talking
by
about
cut blocking.
Cut blocks, yes.
What Navy's O-line does is they'll handle the down guys, they'll handle the defensive front, and then at the second level, they don't stay on their feet. They will just jump at knees, dive at knees, and it's tough to deal with and you can't jump out of the way because that will take you out of the play. You can't just let them cut you because that will also take you out of the play.
Or hurt you.
Yeah, you have to try to play off of it and make a play. And that's the biggest issue with this Navy offense is they know how to do that. They know how to get up to the second level and make you move enough for their guy to slip in behind. And that's going to be something that we're going to have to watch and see, because early in the season, they haven't dealt with a lot of people that are going to cut block. So I want to see how this defense handles that.
I'll be curious to see how this defense handles the cut blocking and Malcolm Perry. Their quarterback is back. If you don't remember 2 years ago, he made a run where I think 8 of the 11 defensive players had a shot and could not bring him down. That run was the closest thing that I can ever remember to my childhood and Gale Sayers. This dude can cut with speed like Gale Sayers could, and he is so shifty. He's worth the price of admission, I think. I don't know how you stop him.
And that's the missed tackles thing we talk about. When you miss tackles, he'll kill you. But with Malcolm Perry, there's been guys in the past that scared me a lot more. Worth, when I think that was Fuentes' days, is Will Worth, or I can't remember his first name. But he could throw a little bit.
Right.
He could throw a wrinkle in there.
But
Malcolm Perry is
running. He couldn't run like this guy.
No, he couldn't.
No, but I'll tell you what. Malcolm Perry, actually, I saw highlights of the East Carolina game. He threw at least one touchdown.
He was 5 for 7. He threw 7 balls.
It's okay.
Yeah.
7 balls. When you're a triple option,
Figuring it out.
7 balls is a lot.
But
I don't know if Staubach threw that many at Navy.
Yeah, I wonder if that's even going to be in their attack, though. I mean, honestly. I think they're going to go.
Their strategy is pretty simple. If the ball's in there, they're kicking it.
They're going to rely very heavily on Malcolm Perry running the ball.
Liberty, kind of more of a theme for next week when we visit with you, but the Liberty Bowl rocking that Thursday night, that's important, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think last time Navy came here, it was a pretty good crowd.
Oh, it was a great crowd.
I wonder Thursday night how that will sort of shake out.
Any weather break.
I believe the last time we played them on that night game, where we drew really well, was either I want to say it was the Thursday night. It might have been a Tuesday night, but I think it was a Thursday night.
Okay, well, you need to get out there because that's going to be a very good game. First conference opponent of the year, big conference opponent, a game they have definitely had circled since last year, a game they really, really want and need to win.
In these 3 wins, what is the thing that has most surprised you about this football team?
Defense. Straight up defense, because when I looked at this depth chart coming into the year, it's the same guys. It's the same guys, and I was wondering, when you look at Chris Paul's scheme from a year ago, and you bring in those same guys, is it a talent thing or is it a scheme issue? And I think, personally, I love Chris Paul, but it was clearly, a scheme and a somewhat of a discipline issue as far as getting those guys to play on the same page. And I think through these first 3 games, you've seen a lot of guys playing on the same page.
But it is not exactly the same guys either. And this is how I will explain this to you. Carlito Gonzalez was going to be a starter. He's a third-teamer. Tyrese Lindsey was a starter and one of the leading tacklers on the team. He's a 2. There's another guy who's a linebacker now, and I can't remember his name. He's a 2. He was a starter. He was the second leading tackler on the team last year.
Yeah, but what I'm sort of getting at is these are guys that have been on campus. These aren't newcomers. These aren't JUCO guys. And that's sort of what I'm pointing to is that they've been on campus, but they haven't really gotten to produce. And, of course, this is Talking Tigers, brought to you by ATC Fitness, Tactical Investments, Wolf Chase Nissan, Wolf Chase Honda, Stereo One, and Pop's Comfort Kitchen.
Man, there's a lot of people like you.
Yeah.
Great job, Gabe. We like you.
I like coming
all
in
those
here, man.
sponsors. That's terrific. All right, Gabe, we'll get more into the nuts and bolts of this thing next
build into a big
Tuesday.
week.
Big bye week.
You know what? You need a bye week for Navy. I think if and I asked Mike Norvell about this. I said, was this something you asked for? He said, no, this is
luck of the draw.
What the league assigned, and he was pleased
for
about that. But guess what?
Coach, take credit when you can.
Navy also got an extra week.
Yep.
So that means if you know Ken Niumatalolo, he's going to have some wrinkles that we have not ever seen that he will put in.
They
just
will
for
run
this game.
the toss sweep, quarterback run around, throw to him. I guarantee it.
Mm-hmm.
The tailback to the quarterback pass, kind of the wheel route to the quarterback.
I will say this, Malcolm Perry. I'd rather have anybody else at quarter. Maybe not Roger Staubach. Anybody else but Roger Staubach. That kid scares the dickens out of me. Thank you. We appreciate it. We take a break. We'll come back. We'll put a wrap on hour number 1 of this Tuesday edition of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats.
The Peter Edmiston Experience with CJ Hurt. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10. Only on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Is imitation the sincerest form of flattery? Not when it comes to your car audio. Stereo One is the leader in car audio, remote start, security, and more for the past 30 years. Stereo One is proud to announce the grand opening of their new location, 1983 Covington Pike, across from the Honda dealership. To celebrate their new location, Stereo One has marked down their entire inventory. Remote start systems at $129 with free installation. Subwoofer base packages start at just $199. Window tint starting at $129. The entire inventory of radios and touchscreens with features like Apple CarPlay, Bluetooth, and backup cameras are marked to go. Check out Stereo One before you buy online. Their knowledge, friendly sales staff, and pro installation team will take care of you. Visit the Stereo One new location today, 1983 Covington Pike, across from Honda, or visit their mega store at Mendenhall and Winchester. Make sure you go to the originators and not the imitators. Stereo One is still the one for your auto accessories.
Family Leisure has the world's biggest spa sale going on now. Over 50 spas in stock and ready to sell. $8,000 spas now just $44.99. 4-person spas starting at $24.99. Swim spas from $89.99. Huge discounts on all spas. Get the lowest prices of the year with special financing available. It's the world's biggest spa sale happening now at Family Leisure. Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
The 2019 Ford F-150 is, wait, what's the word? How would you describe something that has a body made out of high-strength, military-grade aluminum alloy? Something with best-in-class torque and payload that can tow up to 13,200 pounds. And something with the smarts to know that even after being able to do all of that, you can always use a little help from available Pro Trailer Backup Assist. Oh, that's right. I remember the word. It's tough. The 2019 Ford F-150. Built Ford tough.
Max towing is achieved on F-150 XL Super Crew, 6.5-foot box, 3.5-liter EcoBoost 4x2 and max trailer tow package. Max payload is achieved on F-150 XL regular cab, 8-foot box, 5-liter 4x2 and heavy-duty payload package. Glass is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds GVWR. Max towing varies based on cargo, vehicle configuration, accessories, and number of passengers. Max payload varies based on accessories and vehicle configuration. See label on door jamb for carrying capacity of a specific vehicle. Towing and payload are independent attributes and may not be achieved simultaneously.
Memphis, it's official. Crab King Seafood is where it's at. For the most flavored seafood and biggest plates, run to a Crab King's near you. Visit our Bartlett Cordova location at 7140 Stage Road or our East Memphis location at 5992 Knight Arnold Road. Starting this week, get 3 juicy snow crabs, 17 shrimps, 2 whole sausages, 2 corn, 2 eggs, and a large side of potatoes for only $43.99. That's right, $43.99. The price, the portions, the service is why Crab Kings is number one. Make the right choice the first time. Make it Crab Kings. Come and devour our tasty snow crabs, king crabs, shrimp, salmon, and catfish. Enjoy Memphis' best tasting pastas with your choice of toppings. Visit our Bartlett Cordova locations at 7140 Stage Road or our East Memphis location at 5992 Knight Arnold Road. Crab Kings is open Tuesday through Sunday. For more information, Google Crab Kings Memphis or download the app. Crab Kings, a Memphis original.
Hi, friends. Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Jewelers. Did you know that September has one of the most beautiful and desirable birthstones of all the gemstones that nature created? That's right. The sapphire is September's birthstone, and if your lady has a birthday this month or an anniversary, a stunning gift of jewelry with a gorgeous blue sapphire in it would make you brownie points for a long time. A ring or a bracelet, earrings or a pendant, you cannot make a mistake with a little box from Russell Brothers that has an exquisite piece of sapphire and diamond jewelry right in the center. And when she puts it on and you see that smile, you will know that you made the perfect selection. Fine jewelry is never out of style, and a gift from our large collection of sapphire jewelry accented with diamonds will keep her eyes sparkling for a long time. At Russell Brothers Jewelers, we've been offering the finest in beauty, quality, value, and service to Memphians and Mid-Southerners for almost 35 years. Come see us and let us show you what a full-service jewelry store looks like. Russell Brothers Jewelers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins.
Now, back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
We like to party.
Welcome back in. Hour number one coming to a close on this Tuesday here on Sports Time. We've talking a lot about practices. Somebody gave us a text, 67129 on the First Bank text line, and Eli never missed a game for injury. He really was an Iron Man in that regard. Speaking of quarterbacks, good news today. Paxton Lynch has found himself another NFL team. He has landed on the practice squad of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So now he's behind Mason Rudolph and Devlin Hodges. So if anything were to happen to those guys, Paxton Lynch gets a shot. I'm glad.
Yeah, Eli,
you get paid while you're on that practice squad, too.
When Eli Manning broke through of his rookie season, it was week 11 of 2004. After that, 232 starts, most among NFL quarterbacks.
Say that again?
Since week 11 of 2004, Eli Manning's 232 starts are most in the NFL among quarterbacks.
232. That's pretty.
McAdoo benched him, and then he was back in the next week.
That's right. I remember that string was broken, and everybody got on McAdoo for that. How many Tom Brady starts?
Remember, he had the year he
missed.
He missed.
He missed. That's it.
The backup from USC year that ended up the free agent. I can't remember his name now. They went 11-5 and didn't go to the playoffs with him.
Right.
Matt Castle.
That's right. 11-5. Man. That's again a testament to that system, to that culture that they have in New England.
It's hard to go 11-5 and not make the playoffs.
It's very hard. Very hard. Somebody else reminds us Cam Newton had Steve Smith as a receiver for a while.
Yeah, he did. That was probably his best. But since Steve Smith, kind of since the Super Bowl year, they hadn't put a lot around Cam Newton in Charlotte.
We really haven't talked much baseball. You mentioned it a little bit. All three National League Central teams were winners.
Did you see the crowd in Milwaukee last night for the Padres on a Monday night in September? It would not have been that without the wild card.
Correct.
Carrot.
Yep.
They were rocking last night. I thought it was a better crowd there than either the crowd in Chicago or in St. Louis.
I couldn't find a seat in Chicago. Did you see any empty seats?
The crowd noise.
You're just talking about intensity? Well, when you're up 8-2, it's hard to, keep that intensity.
Cubs are hot at the right time.
And they're doing that without Rizzo, but he's not going to need surgery. So that is a good thing. There's a terrible story coming out of Pittsburgh. Well, it's actually coming out of Florida, but the Pittsburgh Pirates pitcher Felipe Vasquez arrested on felony charges of pornography and soliciting a child, a 13-year-old girl in Lee County, Florida. He has been immediately put on administrative leave by Major League Baseball. They're not doing the investigation. They're going to let the Florida authorities do the investigation.
But doesn't it feel like in baseball, everybody else except for the Yankees, Astros, and Dodgers, your winner's probably coming from one of those three, isn't it?
Astros, Yankees, Dodgers. I'm going to throw in the Braves. I think the Braves are good.
I think they would be the fourth, but there's some separation from that first three to them. A little seasoning the Braves may need.
Maybe. But maybe they're just ahead of schedule. Remember, that's what we thought with the Cubs. The Cubs, when they made the playoffs, they were ahead of schedule.
Yeah, that was more the 2015, not the championship team.
Yeah. Well, no, the championship team
had
the best record in baseball that year.
2015, the Cubs came in third in the National League Central, and this year third could get you in the playoffs, and once you're in, you catch some magic.
Anything could happen. Even Strasburg lost last night.
Yeah, he was really wild last night, and to win on a Michael Wacha night. No, I'm sorry, that was Dakota Hudson last night.
Yeah,
and he was as good as you'd want. But when the Cardinals can win on a Michael Wacha night, and they almost stole one Sunday with him.
Well, the Cubs was it Hamels or Hendricks last night?
Hamels.
That's what I thought. Hamels was terrible. Couldn't find the plate. He was out. They had to bring in Cishek. He was terrible. Finally, they settled in. Schwarber hit a 3-run homer in the first, and that ended up being all they needed. But like Hamels didn't last 2 innings.
Yeah, tonight for the Cubs is Yu Darvish, and he's been good.
He's
the
been
last
really good
4 or 5 times
Yep,
out.
He sure has. Cubs got to win every game because the Cardinals never lose. Neither do Brewers. Now that is, by the way, the Nationals.
Hamels just went 3.1 last night.
How much?
3.1 innings.
I didn't think he went 3 1/3. I really did not. Because I tuned in and Cishek was already in giving up runs. The wild card's a 3-team race for 2 spots now. Everybody else is. I don't think Philly's in anymore. I don't think Arizona's in. Yeah.
3 for 2.
Yep. And Milwaukee, Chicago, or Washington could be looking out. Although the Cardinals could be in that conversation. They're only up 2 games.
Somebody other than Washington could host that game.
That is true. That is very true. That is 1 hour in the books. This portion of our show is brought to you by the Eflin Insurance Group. That's Matt Eflin. Right out of school, he went right to work. He's been at it 20 years, but if you look at him, you go, whoa, he's a young guy. He's got a lot of energy. That's why he's got several offices around the area, but the main one is at 8099 Stage Hills Boulevard in Bartlett. 20 years of doing things in a very unique way. He's got a one-on-one approach. He evaluates each individual's insurance needs, and then he specializes in all types of insurance needs, whether it's personal or business. So he sits you down. He asks about whatever you're interested in, whether it's your family or your business, what's most important to protect, gathers up all the different information and the insurance options, then collaborates with you and finds out what is the best way to protect you. When you walk out and it's all completed, you are protected, and you feel that way too. Just call 757-2315 for quotes and that personalized service. Get protected with the guy that will look after you. That's Matt Eflin from the Eflin Insurance Group. To Jacksonville we go next. Brent Beard is standing by. We will talk college football with Brent in just a second on Sports Time with Wolo and Stats.
If you've always thought, hey, I'd look pretty good in a Lexus, well, guess what? Lexus thinks so, too. Lexus is offering you the Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Great offers on all 2019 models and special lease options. Drive in luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by Lexus of Memphis, 2600 Ridgeway, and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2019 flagship LS500. Hey, you look pretty good there. Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event at Lexus of Memphis. Experience amazing.
For the best lineup of quality, fuel-efficient, and fun-to-drive vehicles, get to Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan. Over 1,000 new certified and pre-owned vehicles in one great location. Catch the savings now during our huge model year-end sales event. Score an amazing deal at Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan and get to the game in style at Germantown Road and Highway 64. Family owned since 1981.
It's car buying time now during Wolf Chase Nissan's summer savings event. More cars, better offers, and bigger savings than ever before. Model year-end savings on every new 2019 Nissan in stock. Financing as low as 0% up to 60 months on select models for qualified buyers with approved credit through NMAC. Hurry in for exciting summer savings. And remember, if your car says Wolf Chase Nissan, you got the best deal. WolfChaseNissan.com.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
Memphis Madness returns Thursday, October 3rd to FedEx Forum at 7 p.m. Tickets start at just $5. That's right. You get to see the University of Memphis men's and women's basketball teams, former players, the mighty sound of the South, and maybe even special guests, all for just $5. If that's not enough, the Blue Carpet Experience starts on the FedEx Forum Plaza at 5 p.m. And that is a free event for the entire community. So get your tickets today at GoTigersGo.com. Memphis Madness is presented by Ashley Home Store.
AC trouble? Make your first call your last call. Call Air Doctors of Memphis, 901-598-HVAC. Owner Matt Davis is a third-generation full-service air conditioning specialist. Air Doctors of Memphis services all major brands, and labor and parts are guaranteed 100%. Their yearly AC checkup is only $60, and 24-hour emergency service is billed at normal rates. Your comfort is their highest priority. Contact airdoctorsofmemphis.com or call 901-598-HVAC.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG FM Tunica Memphis, and WPGFLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome in, hour number 2. Always fun to go down to Jacksonville, talk with our friend Brent Beard on SEC football, college football in general. How are you this afternoon? Everything, back in good shape? No weather issues, anything like that? I know they're not happy with their NFL situation in Jacksonville.
The storms have passed us by, at least for this time. The season's not over yet as far as hurricanes, but it's getting close. So I am on the way as we speak to talk to the Putnam County Gator Club, which was a much happier club in the fourth quarter than they were in the first half.
Brent, I said yesterday there are a lot of coaches that could be coaching at Florida right now that would be 1-2. Dan Mullen's 3-0.
Well, there's no question about that. I mean, they survived the Miami game, and then they were able to come back and beat a really more of a solid Kentucky team than people realize. So I would agree with that. I'm covering the Tennessee game this weekend, which is you guys used to know. Now, Now there are a lot of people who are listening to us that are thinking, well, what's the big deal with that? But as you guys know, the Tennessee-Florida game
set the tone.
was the LSU Alabama game years ago. If that puts it in perspective,
to me, it was the championship of the East. That was the game that whoever won that game was most likely going to win that division. But it hasn't been that way for about 10 years. The relationship with Spurrier and Fulmer was really always fun, and Spurrier always seemed to get the best of Fulmer. Now there's a new quarterback at Florida because of injury. Some people think Florida is the beneficiary of that.
And frankly, I would agree with that. I've always thought that Kyle Trask was, frankly, the better of the two quarterbacks. And the reason he is he makes quicker decisions and he's accurate. Now, can he run the dual threat stuff that Van Mullen wants? Not as much, really, as Felipe Franks could, or maybe eventually even Emory Jones. But at the same time, guys, the important thing here is they were able to put him in. They were able to have a situation where they could depend on the backups. And listen, when we talked about this several months ago on this segment, the teams that are going to win the divisions this year are likely the ones that have quarterback depth. And that is something that is not talked about enough. And, I mean, it's like one of the Georgia beat writers told us in the SEC media days, the point if Jake Fromm goes down, their season's over. Now, we're not wishing any ill will of him any means, but the point is there, and you may not want to play three guys, but it really helps if you're a team that has three guys who can play, and not only did you have a new starter at Florida, but they've got a situation now to where they're going to get Emory Jones up and ready and start playing him as much as they can, and they need to do that.
How many teams do you think in the SEC really have good backups? If the Ole Miss quarterback went down, it's a true freshman. Tennessee, if Garantano goes down, I don't think Jeremy Pruitt's got much of an answer. We saw a little bit. Maybe Mississippi State's got a little depth there. I thought when the first teamer went down for the second time this year already, Tommy Stevens, that the backup was definitely not the same guy. Auburn's got two?
They could have a little more depth than everybody else.
What would happen if Tua went down? There's no Jalen Hurts this year.
Mac Jones would be really in trouble with that running game, I think. Brent, what do you think?
They would trust Mac Jones. Let me say this: if Tua went down for a quarter, they would be fine. If Tua goes down and the last half stretch of the season, I think they'd be in trouble. I mean, now Jones is certainly not a true freshman. He's a veteran. He knows the system, but still, there would be a lot of uneasy people. But I mean, the point's a good one. Is you really don't have that many teams in the conference that have got good quarterbacks,
and already 16 different people to start at quarterback in the SEC, and it's not over. I don't want it anywhere, but there's an injury or two, and there's a lost job or two out there somewhere, isn't it?
Oh yeah, Lord, yes. I think that's always a possibility. Frankly, I was impressed with the South Carolina quarterback. That's one of those probably unusual situations when your starter Bentley goes down, and you've got a guy who replaces him that fans are a bit more excited about at that point too. So, but oh yeah, and I mean, and Arkansas has done that. They've kind of played the shell game at this point with Starkel and Hicks. So absolutely, it can go back and forth.
Are fans in Florida excited about Trask? Are they happy that Franks is out? And really and truly, I mean, Mullen's team is 3-0. They should be 2-1. There's a kicker who misses a field goal, or this is a whole different feel to this Tennessee game for Florida.
Right.
But are they happy? Are they excited?
Yeah, I think they are. They're always excited to be undefeated, and they know that they will beat Tennessee, or at least they think they will. And then they've got Towson, but it really gets going after that when you've got Auburn and LSU, South Carolina. That's a trio before they even start thinking about really having that week to play Georgia. but they like Trask because, and look, it was a horrible injury, and I think everybody was sorry to see it. But the reality is, the fans did not trust Felipe Franks that much. They knew he had improved a lot, but there were still just a lot of things that he does that in his decision making, he doesn't see receivers sometimes, or he overthrows them. Now look, in fairness to him, he's come a long way in his improvement, but there was still, and I think this group I'm speaking to tonight would probably tell you the same thing, that they actually trust the Trask a little bit more in throwing the ball than they do Franks.
Brent, until rivalry weekend, Thanksgiving weekend, after this weekend, there won't be many more big Power 5 against the SEC matchups. This week, the biggest one being Notre Dame visiting Georgia. Georgia installed as a heavy favorite. The other one for league pride, for league chanting SEC, it's undefeated and 23rd ranked Cal coming to Oxford to play 2-1 Ole Miss.
Yeah, and the which frankly, I'll be interested, Brett, what you think of Cal. I mean, this Cal team beat Jacob Eason in Washington, and they have got supposedly one of the best secondaries, if not the best in the nation. I'd have to see that to believe it, frankly. But that is a very intriguing game. And obviously the other game that surprisingly has gone under the radar a little bit is Auburn going to A&M in I don't agree yet that that's an elimination game like some people are saying it is, but there's no question that is a pivotal game for both of those teams.
Well, it is for A&M because that would be two losses to go with the Clemson loss. This is the start of a 3-week tough stretch for Auburn. To College Station, home against Mississippi State, to Gainesville to play Florida.
Yeah, and it's not going to be easy for them by any stretch during this time, either because you've still got Bo Nix, who is around 50% in his completion. You've got Booby Whitlow, who's capable of putting the ball on the carpet. Derek Brown is out, or at least he's kind of day to day. So listen, and obviously, and anyone check off like Clemson lost. So huge stakes in a lot of ways for both those teams.
I think Auburn's got to run the ball and keep Bo Nix in comfortable situations, and kind of the you want to feel old alert. I was reading through the Auburn game or the A&M game notes. Jimbo Fisher was Patrick Nick's quarterback coach at Auburn.
That's
now
right.
he's facing his son.
Wow.
In this big game.
Is that right?
Oh yeah. And Damian Craig was also.
That's cool.
Damian Craig's on the staff at A&M.
I think that's
Damian Craig's at A&M, right, Brent?
Yeah. If you listen, if you cover this stuff as long as the three of us have, you run into those situations.
I'm out at
time
grandkid time. Hey,
Yeah. Hey, listen. I was about to say that. Yes. Isn't it time for a grandson to be involved in one of these things too?
I'm sure if we looked hard enough, we'd find it.
Brent, a friend of mine, Sunday in Atlanta, hosted Johnny and Brian Musso playing golf. And when Brian Musso was at Northwestern, that was the first time that kind of a hero of my childhood son was out there playing. And here came the Manning boys with Peyton and Eli. So the sons are one thing, grandsons will be another one.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that. And, listen, people.
How far before Archie's or Eli's kids play?
He's just in ninth grade. Cooper's son's in ninth grade.
Yeah.
Ninth grade.
Right. But
not that far away.
But what we understand, he's looked good in his game so far.
Yeah, imagine that.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, but listen, how much pressure is going to be on him when he's senior in high school and
just to have a normal existence, just to go off to college and walk around town? I mean,
Unless you don't play football. If you play football, the pressure is going to be there. It's
Well, he's
like
gonna play football.
how about Michael Jordan's kids having to play basketball? You know?
Tough task.
That's really, really tough. Hey, I know it's a long way from where you are, but I know you're a big American Athletic Conference fan too. How much play is UCF getting in the state of Florida? They have now scored 30-plus points in 29 straight games. I think they're 28-1, by the way, in that 29-game period.
Well, it's getting more play here than you realize. And again, we're actually, Dave, only 2 hours from Orlando. So, of course, depending on the traffic, it could be 4. But
you got the new bypass at Ocala, though, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But if you go down to 95, it's another story, Brett. But there's been a lot of attention. Listen, that was a very nice win for them. And listen, it wasn't just a win. I mean, they clobbered them, frankly. Now, I've heard this Stanford team could end up being 6-6 before it's over. Well, look, I'm not going to throw water on that fire because that's a big win. That's a big win for UCF. I don't care what anybody says.
UCF contributed to that. To the victor go the spoils.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, absolutely. And again, I mean, the great thing is in Josh Heupel's offense, whoever you put in there at quarterback, I mean, he could put the three of us and whoever's in the studio, and we would probably be all conference before it was over. So, again, not only are they winning, they're winning big, and they're fun to watch.
And Drew Barrett took exception to that. He thinks he could do it too, Brent. You said to whoever's in the studio, Drew thinks he could step in and play for Heupel. He's a lefty like Heupel. You're a lefty, right?
I am.
Just like Heupel.
Can you throw better than you pick?
Yes, I can.
Drew had a tough picking last week, a smooth 1-9 last week, Brent. That's hard to do. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
You think about this. He's got 3 quarterbacks now that he could count on, and not one of them is named Mackenzie Milton.
Nice options. Brent,
Yeah.
college football getting the predictable criticism of the predictable teams, top-heavy, the same old names in the teams, and I think that's going to be the outrage the first night of the CFP release come November is, what's changed? Well, not much has changed, but we kind of knew that all of June, all of July, and going into the season. No other sport gets the criticism labeled at that. We're getting ready to start the best time of year for baseball. We were just talking about the Astros, Dodgers, and Yankees being there. In the NFL, after just 2 weeks, 3 of the 4 teams that were around on championship game Sunday last year, Patriots, Rams, and Kansas City, they look like they're going to be there again this year. Why does it stick to college football and not everybody else?
Easy target, as you said, and look, again, these are teams that have the best coaches, they have the best rosters, and they have been very consistent. That's what's made it rather incredible to me. But again, I mean, and really, I think people realized that after the top 6, winning the national championship after that's kind of hate.
Yep. I got a feeling he's
on his...
Yeah.
Yeah. And 2 would be to, hire better coaches and recruit better players.
Yeah, easier said than done, and the latter being the most difficult part, especially when everybody else is kind of starting at the 3-quarter pole, like the big boys are.
Or as John Calipari would say, starting at third base.
Yeah.
Hey, you knock 'em dead today with your speech. I know you will.
Have fun tonight.
And are you where are you going to be at Florida, Tennessee? Is that what you told us?
You'll be at the Swamp Saturday?
I will be. It's an interesting week. I'm speaking to this Gator Club tonight, and then Thursday night I'm speaking to the Jacksonville Bulldog Club of Georgia fans, and then we'll be at Florida, Tennessee on Saturday. So listen, we live for weeks like this. It's a lot of fun to be able to talk to folks and share the gospel of college football with them.
How big does Georgia wins, don't they?
Yeah. Yes. Oh, yeah.
How big?
Yeah. the Georgia beat writers have told us this may be the biggest game in Sanford's stadium in history. Now that's probably some hyperbole to some degree, and I get
That's
that.
Notre Dame.
Yeah, it is. It's Notre Dame, and that's
It
what
is Notre
matters.
Dame.
So
They've played some pretty
I
big
think
games in that stadium, though.
They have, but
They've had some big guys who've played in that stadium.
Notre Dame brings the cachet. They do.
They do, and I think part of the reason, guys, according to the beat writer, he's got a good point. He said that may be the only time Notre Dame will ever be in Athens.
That's right. This is once in a lifetime. Thank you, Brent. Enjoy your night tonight. Thank you.
Enjoy your whole week.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You got
Brent Beard down in Jacksonville.
Brent Beard talking college football with us, brought to you in part by Jason's Deli, healthy, first franchise in the nation to be trans fat free. I was there today. Trans fat free food at Jason's Deli, where it's all about choice, regardless if you seek a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids meals, or you would like to invent your sandwich via the build your own selection. You'll be delighted at Jason's Deli. Plenty of organic food to choose from. The salad bar, 30 items just on the salad bar, and the great salads like the Mesa chicken salad, the chicken club salad, the nutty mixed up salad, the big chef salad, and I love the taco salad. You can get the original or the lighter portion. Both are huge. Original is gigantic. Lighter portion, it's pretty big itself. Catering anytime, anywhere for the game watching parties this Thursday night, this Friday night, Saturday to game watch. You can have Jason's Deli cater your party for you. These locations, Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova, and finish the meal, whether it's lunch or dinner. Don't forget about Jason's Deli as we approach the dinner hour coming up around 5:30 or so, and you wrap it up with the free ice cream at Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova. Check them out online as well at jasonsdeli.com.
AAA All-Star game tonight. Not AAA All-Star game, I'm sorry. The AAA Championship
National Championship game.
The AAA national title on the line tonight at AutoZone Park. They got some sort of promotion where with your ticket you get all the nachos you could possibly want. So I hope there is a good crowd out there. But it did make me start to think how Peter Freund and Craig Unger, frankly, have tried to make this stadium used more often, and they're doing a heck of a job. The crowds have been terrific for 901 FC, and we still got a few more of those games to come. And now this one, and I know they've bid a couple of times to get it, but I do love their vision. It brings more downtown. They've now restored, and if you go tonight, you'll see it's a new field. They were going to have to do it last year. They decided to do it this year because it had yellowed and they wanted to look good on national TV. It's on FS1, by the way, this All-Star game tonight. But bottom line is, They had a vision of trying to make AutoZone Park more of a year-round entity, and they're doing it. And the other thing is, and there will be a big dinner to bring in the very first Memphis Hall of Fame sports banquet. That'll be October the 6th. I'm going to be one of the 3 MCs. I'm looking forward to that. And that'll be another night that it'll be used. And folks who want to tour the ballpark or see this new Hall of Fame, they'll get to do that when we have this thing completed.
Exhibits will be open that night?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'll try and find out. But I know the class is going to be inducted that night, October the 6th, at AutoZone Park. They're really trying to make this a deal where you can go in at all times. There will be something happening
tonight,
downtown.
Sacramento River Cats against the Columbus Clippers. I think this year was the year that division Sacramento is from didn't come into Memphis, and I know Columbus didn't because they're in another league.
I think the Sacramento manager has Memphis ties. I know there's a pitcher on one of the teams that played for the University of Memphis, but I'm pretty sure the Sacramento manager had I think his sister went to Collierville High School. So there's this weird connection. It had nothing to do. When Craig Unger bid on getting this All-Star, this championship game here, he was hoping that the Redbirds would be in it for a third time in a row. They just didn't quite make it this year. They are the defending national champions.
They got to hand the trophy over tonight.
Yeah, they do. Oh, well. Hope it's a good crowd. That is for certain.
Columbus Clippers, are they affiliated with the Yankees?
I think they used to be, but I'm not sure that they are anymore. I want to say they're Cleveland.
I just don't know.
I think Drew will get that, and we'll give you that answer in a second. I'll let you know the title sponsor for this hour of the program. You know by now. It's our friends at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's the place that's filled with assurance. It's the shopper's
Indians.
assurance. Yeah, Cleveland. It's the shopper assurance. That's where you really get treated beautifully, but also transparent pricing, flexible test drive. That means take it for not an hour, take it for a while. Get to know the feel of the car. When you want to buy, and you will, now you're in and out. It's not there all day long, going through all this stuff, filling out all these papers. I promise you, it's a streamlined buying process. And if you've got anything where it just doesn't feel right, once you've got the car, 3 days to change your mind. 3 days to suffer through buyer's remorse and do something about it. It's called the 3-day worry-free exchange. And, of course, this technology is so good, you're not going to have to worry about any of that. That's the other assurance, the Hyundai Assurance. 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty on every new car. My Santa Fe, a G70. Whew, those G cars. They are some kind of luxury cars. And Homer Skelton Hyundai will be getting more of those in. It is the way the car buying process should be completed. This is the way this is the business model you want. I'm telling you. Just get on Lamar. When you get into Mississippi, the first exit's Craft Road, turn left, and you will love what you see at Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch. We take a break. When we come back, we turn our attention back to the Shield, the National Football League, with Jeff Moore. He's next on Sports Time with Wolo and Stats.
Sports 56 now has 2 FM homes. You can now find real sports talk on 96.1 as well as 87.7 on your FM dial.
The Vargas family, legendary Memphis restaurateur, starting with Mr. Charlie and continuing today with his grandchildren.
Brett, it just dawned on me the other day that while Memphis is celebrating its bicentennial, the Rendezvous has been here well over 1/3 of Memphis's existence. Someone asked me if we remember the day the Rendezvous started, and I tell them no, because if we thought it was going to last this long, we'd have kept much better records. But we're not a place to rest on our laurels or reputation. We're always trying to add new things to make our customers' experience more enjoyable. Friday lunches have always been special because we give away our red beans and rice. But we are now adding a sausage sandwich. It's the same sausage we serve on our cheese and sausage plate, but it will be served lengthwise on the bun with beans and slaw on the side. We've also partnered with a company called Devillet out of Dyersburg to introduce a new sweet glazed mustard with Rendezvous seasoning in it. It will really go great with a sandwich. I still recommend adding slaw. My grandfather had a hot dog stand on Beale Street in 1916, and we've come full circle using his slaw on our hot dogs. Hope to see you this Friday at the Rendezvous.
In the alley in downtown Memphis.
At First Bank Mortgage, their core purpose is to help you get to a better place. That better place may be a lower monthly payment, that vacation you thought was impossible, or getting into a home with a fenced backyard where your kids can play. To get into your better place, First Bank Mortgage makes decisions right here at home. Dedicated to helping you get to your better place, First Bank Mortgage. Call Daniel Mooney at 901-462-0145 today. NMLS 741022. Equal housing lender.
In today's evolving workplace, XMC understands the process of getting office work done has moved from the desktop to your pocket. The new Xerox multifunctional printers and Connect Key app technology are game changers. Are you working with confidential information? Does it need to be secure from unwanted threats? Do you need to translate documents to another language? Xerox's App Gallery provides solutions like secure printing and easy translator technology. XMC is the second largest exclusive Xerox agent in the U.S. with 9 locations to serve you. We've been in business for over 25 years and have received top awards from Xerox. In changing our world one experience at a time, our team's committed to doing what's right for your business. XMC is proud to be your leader in document and print management, and it'd be our pleasure to serve you. Contact XMC today at 888-814-3114 or visit our website at xmcinc.com. XMC, excellence in office solutions.
Did you know Davis Motorhome Mart is one of the top 10 Tiffin dealers in the U.S.? Come tour the 7.5 acres of beautiful travel trailers, motorhomes, fifth wheels, and toy hauler towables half-tons. Motorhomes from 27 feet up to 45 feet from brands like Winnebago, Coachman, Puma, Highland Ridge, and Tiffin. Take advantage of Davis Motorhome Mart's big blowout sale on 2019s and 2020s on their way. Stop by your gateway to travel freedom. Davis Motorhome Mart at 1145 East Brooks Road in Memphis. Call 901-332-3414 and cruise by the website davismotorhomes.com.
Hey, Tiger fans, this is John Stacy of the Blue and Gray Show. You can hear Drew Barrett and I talk Tigers with Tigers every Sunday at 5 right here on Sports 66, 96.1, and 87.7. Drew, who do we got in the studio with us this week?
This week will be our family show as we have former Tigers Ray and Sam Kraft in studio with John and I as we look towards Navy and talk the family tradition of Tiger football.
Thanks, Drew. We'll be here Sunday on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. The Blue and Gray Show, where we talk Tigers with Tigers.
Now, more of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Halfway through our Tuesday, that means Jeff Moore is in the house. We talk National Football League, and I read this list, Jeff, as we started the show. Guys like Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger, Nick Foles, now Cam Newton. Just to name a few, Sam Darnold's got this mono now. It is amazing. I think the list was 18 guys that are quarterbacks on the injured reserve list. We're going out of our way to protect them, but we can't do it for whatever reason. This has got to be the most after 2 weeks that we've ever had. Would you agree?
It seems like quite an epidemic this year, and it's coming from different places. I mean, you look at Ben Roethlisberger's injury. I mean, he wasn't even hit, and he goes down, and then of course Drew Brees' injury was somewhat of a freakish injury too. He's throwing the ball, and the guys with a big mitt is swinging at him, and that's a tough collision. It just goes to how important it is to develop that backup guy, that second guy, and of course, the Jets are now on their third guy. I mean, it's
that's sad.
After 2 games, I mean, and we all know that is the most important position on your team is the quarterback. I mean, the guy that makes the offense go. So you protect them as best you can, but in a sport where you've got guys so strong, so fast, it's just hard to protect them.
Well, even with all the injuries, the big story from quarterbacks today is Eli Manning, 15-year run, all those starts, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, 38 years old, and maybe Father Time has caught up, but he's going to get benched for Daniel Jones. Your thoughts?
Great career. One of my favorite quarterbacks of all time, just a gutty, gritty guy who would just look down the barrel and stand in there and give his receivers a chance. And you saw over the last couple of years, actually, that skill set just start to diminish some here and there. And you kind of wanted to look the other way and think, hey, it's just something temporary. But, it happens. It's Father Time. We can't beat Father Time. But, he has nothing to hang his head about. He had a great career. He represented the Giants well on and off the field. Great professional.
And could be back in there this Sunday if it came apart on Daniel Jones, because that average offensive line and that weak receiving core, it's not going to get better because Eli Manning's out and Daniel Jones is in.
Yeah, they're probably gonna be a little more vanilla to just kind of let him get a feel for the speed of the real game. The preseason is nothing like the regular season when you're playing against starters from start to finish on the defensive side. And they've just got to protect him so that he doesn't get shell-shocked. But, he's demonstrated that he does have some skills that translate to this game, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do to help the Giants advance. He always has that super running back, Saquon Barkley, that he can hand the ball off to, and he does give him a great chance with play action because he's such a lethal player.
The Bears, and meanwhile, they have, I think, maybe once in a generation, for sure 10 to 15-year defense, and they have Mitch Trubisky. They could have drafted Mahomes. They could have drafted Deshaun Watson, and they traded 5 picks to move up to get Mitch Trubisky. Wonder how long they want to stay with him.
Well, you just got to give him a chance. I mean, he's shown that his progression is probably a little bit slower. It appears to me that they're being just a little bit too conservative in that offense for a guy with his skill set. And, if they're not showing the confidence in the quarterback, sometimes the quarterback can start to have his confidence diminish. But I think if they can open up that offense more, I think he can help them. They've got to throw the ball down the field to stretch these defenses, or they'll just line up and come after him.
Well, it's been a joke. It really is. And I've lost faith in Trubisky, but I've also lost faith in Nagy.
Okay.
They had a 13-3 lead, and they went through a series where they ran the ball 9 straight times. This is the National Football League now.
Right.
I'm not saying you got to, throw the ball every time, but, hey, you're supposed to have this guy with a cannon. It's your 3rd year now with this dude. Everybody says you're the offensive genius, Nagy.
Coach of the year.
You know exactly what your offense is all about. Now you've had this guy for a year and a half that you've had him under your wing. It was terrible. It was bad play calling. I mean, the Bears are incredibly fortunate to be 1-1. They should be 0-2.
And the one thing that happens in this league is defenses really study how teams are using their quarterback and what kind of confidence they're demonstrating, what the routes they like, the routes the quarterback likes. And, they're showing that they don't have a lot of confidence in him. I think, again, the best thing they could do is get more aggressive throwing the ball down the field and hope for a pass interference or something. Let him get some confidence. Let his receivers make some plays. Let them have the defense have to back up and play him a little more honestly.
They need to introduce him to Anthony Miller, don't they?
Oh, that's what I mean. Yeah.
I don't understand. They threw one pass to Miller that he caught in that game.
Get him involved early, something simple, kind of get into the flow.
I mean, that's what it takes. That gives the quarterback some confidence. It gives the receiver some confidence. But if you're a receiver and you're running around for 4 quarters and you don't get but, a handful of targets, it starts to be a little frustrating.
There are, I think I cut it up like half the league or close to half the league is undefeated 2-0. There are some fool's gold 2-0s. I'm wondering if you think for real. Like
and there's even the 1-0-1 lines.
That's true.
Undefeated.
Yep. I think we know for sure New England is for real.
Yes.
Buffalo, fool's gold?
Buffalo, I think, has taken a step forward. How much of a step we don't know yet, but they have a young quarterback that has a lot of skills. He's a threat to the defense running and passing the ball, and they have demonstrated some confidence in him. They've got a good running game. They've got a decent defense. I think their defense ranks in the middle of the pack. So you in that division with Miami tanking the way they're doing, with the Jets doing what they're doing, Buffalo is a team that you're going to have to show some respect.
Miami waving not only the surrender but the retreat, cut and run flag. Get out of here, go.
The message that they're sending to their players is pretty sad. And I understand you have to plan for the future. But, these guys are putting it on the line every week, and they run the chance of physical injury or mental. I mean, those guys are expected to compete, but the organization is not showing a lot of confidence in them.
Well, I couldn't believe they traded Micah Fitzpatrick again for more draft choices. And the Steelers are going, they must believe in Mason Rudolph, or maybe now Paxton Lynch is on that practice squad. That's it. But they went to get another defensive back. They weren't even trying to make a trade.
That's been the Steelers' problem
for a QB.
Years, stopping somebody.
I get it. But bottom line is, I've never seen that NFL team that you could identify, at least early in the season, that they were just going, we're going after Tua Tagovailoa. We're tanking.
Well, again, the organization might be, but those guys that go out and line up between the lines, I mean, they're competing every play and trying to make things happen, and they're just not they're not showing a good message or giving a good message to their players. I have some questions about their head coach. I'm one of those that just doesn't believe because the guy's a great defensive or offensive coordinator that translates to a good head coach. I think they're two totally different job sets, and they take a lot of different skills. And this head coach just does not demonstrate to me that he's a leader of men.
Baltimore Ravens are 2-0. Real? Fool's gold.
They're real. Lamar Jackson has obviously gained a lot of confidence. they're showing a lot of confidence in him. To just contrast what the Bears are doing with Trubisky, the Baltimore is on their own 5-yard line, and they're dropping back, having Lamar throw the ball. He's showing a lot. They're putting up the ball a lot and trusting his arm and trusting his ability to read defenses. And they've always Baltimore's going to always have a respectable defense. So yeah, I think that team's for real.
I think they are too, and I know Harbaugh is for real, but it has been against Miami and Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
True.
No question.
Those are valid points.
Well, I mean, you look at the Cowboys, and I know we're going to get to them, but they beat the Giants and the Redskins. I mean,
That's right.
and everybody's saying how great Dak is playing.
All right, well, let's go to them because the other team in the AFC is the Chiefs, and I think we all agree they're for real.
Yeah.
So we start with, you're right, 2 easy targets, but Dak Prescott has looked outstanding. The Cowboys look terrific.
Well, they came into the season with what I felt was one of the better defenses, young defenses that finished the season last year, and Dak Prescott has played well. But I think the key to the reason this team is looking so impressive to me is the offensive play calling of Kellen Moore. I mean, they're moving people around. They're causing a lot of confusion. And he seems to be really on the same page with Dak Prescott, and that gives him a lot of confidence. They've got good weapons. They're throwing deep. They're throwing. He's spreading the ball around. And when you've got a coordinator that is showing that kind of confidence in your quarterback, and you're doing the types of things that he's doing, and then you've got a bell cow like Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield, you're going to be effective. But again, they haven't been tested.
The return of Jason Witten sure helped, and the whole Cabo thing with Ezekiel Elliott at 2-0 start, it's like it never happened.
Of course, and that's typically the way negotiations go.
What is this thing with the Cowboys in Cabo? Isn't that where Tony Romo went before a playoff when they had a bye one year? And they got blasted for that? The Cowboys in Cabo, that's an interesting thing.
But the 2-0 with Ezekiel Elliott, he got his money. Who cares he missed training camp?
Nobody.
Right.
Nobody cares at all.
And a lot of running backs, good running backs, don't play a lot in the preseason anyway because those guys carry the ball so much in regular season.
I recuse myself from any opinion on this one as being for real for 2-0 because I have a built-in bias against the Green Bay Packers. But are they for real? Because I really didn't think they'd be very good this year. And so far, their defense has been outstanding.
And the new coach and Aaron Rodgers went at it on the sideline. The cameras caught it.
Yeah. I think the story in Green Bay is their defense. Their defense is really playing well. And, of course, they beat 2 good teams so far out of the stretch. Aaron Rodgers is one of the best in the business. And, this offense has been effective. They're not scoring a lot of points yet, but I think the Green Bay Packers, are for real.
Since you mentioned that, Doug Marrone and the safety, Ramsey, who went after each other, and now he's
restrained.
Now he's being
Packers wasn't like that.
Right. Now he's requested to be moved, and I think that'll be accommodated. But Marrone said something afterwards that I really wonder. I mean, he goes, this kind of stuff happens all the time. You look at the guys back in the O-line huddle, and they're all yelling at each other. It just, and now it gets picked up more. Is that true? Do you believe that?
Yeah, I mean, I harken back to an incident with Tom Brady and the head coach of Houston. Now they Bill O'Brien got into a shouting match. I mean, in the heat of the battle, those type of things can happen. Now, when a player has to be restrained, that's something different.
Did you have an assist? Was there an assistant coach when a college or pro that when he came over and said, "Hey, cut it out," that meant cut it out? Was there kind of a heavy, an enforcer?
That was it's a great question. And one of the biggest surprises to me in being on a professional team was, I guess, the lack of respect that players had for head coaches. It was nothing for a player to cuss out a head coach and so forth. And I'm from the South, I'm used to.
Yes, sir.
I'm not used to, yes, sir, or coach. I never would call. I was just shocked that they called our head coach by their first name. All of the coaches were referred to by their first name. It took me a long time to get used to doing that. So, in the pros, no. I mean, it's no head coach. It's no assistant coach. They can come
no bouncer.
It isn't. It really isn't.
The only thing I ever know about like something like that was the backup coach. You got to back up.
Yeah.
Get away.
Right. That guy.
Yeah, and it wasn't, it wouldn't be unlikely for him to get cursed out. I mean, it's a different ball game. It really is.
You weren't going to berate Bill Battle or Johnny Majors.
Oh no. And most college programs, it's different.
And you wouldn't anybody because you're good upbringing.
Yeah, but in most college programs, I mean, the coach gets that kind of reverence, and the assistant coaches get it. But in the pros, no sir.
I think Peyton Manning had trouble in the pros, because not all of them, but some of them called Tony Dungy Tony. He would insist on still calling him coach.
Well, I didn't know that, and that would be an adjustment for those players because again, in the league, it's not unusual. Now, I would expect that in the Patriots organization, you probably call him Coach Belichick, but I wouldn't be surprised if some people call him Bill. It's a different mindset. It's a different relationship. It's a relationship of respect. But mutual respect.
Lou Holtz always told the story that one year he was with the New York Jets that he wrote like a team fight song, and he knew he said, I got to sell this to Joe Namath and get him to kind of be my guy, and he handed him the lyrics. He said Namath wadded it up and threw it away. That was the end of the team fight song.
I guess that didn't work. Last three undefeateds: the Rams, the Niners, the Seahawks, all in the same division. Certainly, all three of them can't be for real. And I know which team you're picking on.
San Francisco,
2-0 on the road.
Their offense has come out, and those guys are doing some very interesting
Garoppolo,
things.
telling you he's a good player.
They're confusing some defenses. You watch that team. I think they have the potential to be competitive and be a 500
team.
Something,
aren't they?
They are, because they didn't win. I think they only won one road game last year. So
and Garoppolo got hurt already.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's good to see him. He looked so bad in preseason. It's really good to see him relaxing and doing what he can do. But, the Seattle is for real, absolutely. And, of course, we know the Rams, with the way they played against the Saints, showed that they're ready to play well.
Texter at 67129 before we get away wants us to ask you about the state of officiating, but as Texter says, it seems to just be getting worse and worse.
Well, I'm one of those guys that gives officials the benefit of the doubt because the game moves so quickly. Those guys are trained. It would be better, I think, if they were full-time and got training, year-round. But, things happen quickly. That's why we have replay. That's why we have the flag that coaches can throw and try to change the outcome of a play.
It's just unfortunate and really coincidental that New Orleans keeps getting the raw end of the deal.
Yeah.
I don't know what else you can say. That was a blown call.
Yeah. And hopefully the calls will go the other way for them. But, again, things happen so quickly that officials are just trying to do their job, and I don't think they have an axe to grind as far as who wins the game. They're just trying to do their job, and they make mistakes.
Yeah, I'm with you on no conspiracy, but it does seem like it's awfully coincidental for New Orleans. But there's no conspiracy.
Well, the game last year, I mean, that was just, that was just pathetic. Yeah. I mean, there's no way around that, and that's the reason that they changed the rule. I mean, you don't.
Well, this was a pretty bad call
was
too. Maybe not as obvious as the other one, but
the Super Bowl on the line.
No, it's clear that it was another blown call. Last thing, Jeff Moore. Is there any hope for the Jets, the Dolphins, or really now even the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I think there's hope for the Steelers, absolutely, because I have tremendous respect for Coach Tomlin and his ability to get his team ready to play. They do have a lot of young talent on that team. And it's just going to be a question of how Mason Rudolph adjusts to the speed of the game. But I expect them to continue to be competitive. The Jets, not so much, and Miami's already demonstrated that they just don't have the horses this year.
And Brett's Jacksonville Jaguars, no hope, right? I mean, Foles gone.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. In that division, they've got a chance if they can get it turned around.
Yeah. Nobody's 2-0 in that division, so they're only a game back. Thank you as always, my friend. We appreciate it. Glad you're back safe and sound from the Danube.
Absolutely. Thank you.
That is Jeff Moore. we take a quick time out. I'll let you know this portion of the show is brought to you by Memphis Public Golf. Better play every day. That's their slogan. I like to say for everyone. And they're all in on junior golf. If you're 17 and under, free green fees. That's still going on all courses except for Galloway. That's Monday through Friday. And even after 12 on weekends and holidays. And even at Galloway, if you bring your family, Saturday afternoons after 12, $25 for the adults with a cart. Junior, 17 and under, free. So they even do it at Galloway. Women, you can get in on this too. Women's clinics every Wednesday, 3:30 at Overton. And then there's free golf clinics all the time, it seems, at Whitehaven, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 4:30 to 6:30. Even Thursday, 4:30 to 6:30 at the Links at Pine Hill. So if you want to learn how to play the game and you're a youngster, plenty of opportunity. Memphis Public Links, growing the game every day. Better play every day for everyone. Back in just a minute. We'll put a wrap on hour number 2 here on the Tuesday edition of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through the midday with Sports 56 Middays. Delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 till 1 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Stop. Pick up your golf clubs. Head to my favorite place, Vantage Point Golf Center, 9580 Macon Road in Cordova. Open 7 days a week. Vantage Point Golf Center. They got it all. Top Tracer powered by Top Golf. Track your shots like the pros. You know exactly where you hit the ball. Have a beer, eat a sandwich, and relax. Over 50 grass spots and fully lit for nighttime. There are 18 holes of mini golf. It's fun for the whole family. Visit Vantage Point Golf Center. They've got it all. 1 mile west of Houston Levee.
AC trouble? Make your first call your last call. Call Air Doctors of Memphis, 901-598-HVAC. Owner Matt Davis is a third-generation full-service air conditioning specialist. Air Doctors of Memphis services all major brands, and labor and parts are guaranteed 100%. Their yearly AC checkup is only $60, and 24-hour emergency service is billed at normal rates. Your comfort is their highest priority. Contact airdoctorsofmemphis.com or call 901-598-HVAC.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
The 2019 Ford F-150 is... Wait, what's the word? How would you describe something that has a body made out of high-strength, military-grade aluminum alloy? Something with best-in-class torque and payload that can tow up to 13,200 pounds. And something with the smarts to know that even after being able to do all of that, you can always use a little help from available Pro Trailer Backup Assist. Oh, that's right. I remember the word. It's tough. The 2019 Ford F-150. Built Ford tough.
Max towing is achieved on F-150 XL Super Crew, 6.5-foot box, 3.5-liter EcoBoost 4x2 and max trailer tow package. Max payload is achieved on F-150 XL regular cab, 8-foot box, 5-liter 4x2 and heavy-duty payload package. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR. Max towing varies based on cargo, vehicle configuration, accessories, and number of passengers. Max payload varies based on accessories and vehicle configuration. See label on door jamb for carrying capacity of a specific vehicle. Towing and payload are independent attributes and may not be achieved simultaneously.
Now, more of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshyn and Brad Norsworthy.
Cruising through our Tuesday. Hey, here's a story we have not mentioned. I know I have this love affair with kickers. You don't seem to
I
share
love
that.
special teams. You're wrong.
Adam Vinatieri. Is he the greatest of all time?
I got it in my notes, Dave. I promise you.
Is he the greatest of all time?
He's the greatest playoff clutch kicker, bad weather kicker. Sunday, I jokingly said to my brother when he missed the 2 extra points in Nashville, the weather was too nice. He's better in knee-high snow.
Oh, I think it's age, seriously.
It happens.
I hate to say this, but
the scar tissue for aging players.
Those last 2 kicks were his 7th of this season.
The Colts announcing they're going to stick by him. And, there's been a lot of tweets today the last time that neither Breeze, Roethlisberger, or Eli started. Somebody do this information. The last time those three and Adam Vinatieri didn't appear in the game.
Adam said he's got demons in his head now, and he's actually considering retirement.
It's like aging golfers. Tom Watson got it. He got the old age
Well, he
yips.
got the yips, yeah. But he got the yips young. He ended up playing really good after getting the yips. He figured out a different way to putt.
The whole putting thing. I don't think it's yippy. I think it's more determination with him. But Matt Kuchar, I mean, he gets real wobbly on a Sunday.
I meant to bring this up yesterday. I just think it's absolutely funny. All year long, who are you picking? Who is your long shot dude?
Joaquin Neiman.
There you go.
How many times I picked
Boy, you could have gotten $1.35 million, buddy.
Oh, you got to rub it in, huh, Dave? Man, Dave, the gracious winner, wasn't he? And we set it all up for him.
I set it up. I took a dive. We let him have his one last ride into the sunset.
Right.
We let you have one last ride, and you're going to do this to us.
It was that charitable standing O for Sinatra at the end.
Please.
What we gave you.
What was I in picks this week?
This week in
like
picks.
9-1?
You were pretty good.
The SEC picks.
Oh,
it was
we were all 10-1, but this was everybody. This was chalky weekend.
This was.
A&M and Lamar, Tennessee against Chattanooga, LSU and Northwestern State. There's a lot of yellow on that page from this week.
Yeah, there is.
Now, preseason.
I don't think I've lost my touch yet.
Preseason, this game this week. Remember, I had Cal. You had Ole Miss. Preseason for the yearly picks.
Can I change that?
Can I change it? Because I said
I had Cal. You have Ole Miss.
No, I had Cal preseason. You had Ole Miss.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
You want to change?
You want to swap?
No,
I would be happy to do that.
We can't do it.
I think Cal is.
I said 3-1 after 4 for Ole Miss, and I'd be very contented. And if they win Saturday, I will be.
Yeah. I think the only one you would have you'd be right on, wouldn't it? Because you. You had Ole Miss beating Memphis,
but I would be 3-1. You'd be 3-1
exactly.
as well. Drew would be 3-1.
Right.
It's an interesting game Saturday.
Well, we'll have to talk about that in a little bit.
Luke Beckett from Little Rock, Arkansas, starting defensive lineman for Cal. His mother, Debbie Thomas, the Olympic skater.
No way, really? Huh.
She was in Little Rock doing her residency and met Chris, his dad.
I remember that she was going to be a doctor. You know, the amazing thing about that is you look at a figure skater. Would you ever believe that they would have a child that would be a football player?
And her big rival was Katarina Witt.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And that was a great rivalry. That's 2 hours in the books. We will be back in a minute with hour number 3. And to do so, Bo Marchant from collegetopro.com. We told we're going to have to really talk him off the ledge. And he wasn't a big Paxton Lynch fan either, and that's where Paxton is now. He's next on Sportstime with Wolo and Stats. I want to invite you to come by the Spirit Shop. You know, that little log cabin on Poplar? Your liquor and wine oasis. The Spirit Shop has been providing sports fans their beverage needs since way back in 1969. So come in now and get ready for the big game. Whether your favorite team wins or loses, the Spirit Shop will help you celebrate or ease that pain away. The Spirit Shop is open every day, and they're located perfectly at 4848 Poplar. That's the corner of Poplar and St. Nick.
Football is here. I know. I have a Sports Talk radio show. Why do you always have to throw that in my face? Because it's fun. Now, let's get down to the Central Barbecue ad. We're talking the incredible bulk. I have no idea what that means. Tailgating and Central Barbecue means this is the time for bulk ordering. Oh, Oh, I get it. Incredible bulk.
Yes, you call ahead and order enough delicious Central Barbecue food to feed your entire tailgating crew. Central Barbecue is your one-stop shopping destination for all your chowing down needs.
And with all their locations.
Central Avenue, Summer Avenue, downtown, or the shiny new location on Poplar.
There's a Central Barbecue central to wherever Memphians are.
Nice line.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
I love fall. The landscape is so beautiful at Town Village Audubon Park. Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $2,300. Gourmet Chef Drew invites you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, daily check-in, monthly coffee club, theme dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
Thank you, Drew Barrett. Third and final hour on this very busy Tuesday. We talk NFL with Bo Marchant coming up next. After I tell you about the title sponsor of this hour, that's DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184 for that town and country experience. Come on down to DeSoto County to DeSoto Auto Sales. Visit them online. Check out the referrals at DeSoto Auto Sales, where they specialize in late model cars with low mileage, very high standards, and all the cars test-driven, checked out, head-to-toe, bumper-to-bumper, and they have an unlimited inventory. Every make, every model. If they don't have it for you at DeSoto Auto Sales, they'll go out and find it for you. When you walk in, you're treated like family by kind, courteous employees, laid-back, down-home atmosphere, no high-pressure sales whatsoever at DeSoto Auto Sales, but they do guarantee you the ultimate car experience. You walk in, deal with your sales rep, find the car you want, test drive your car, get credit approved, finish the paperwork, and you're gone in 45 minutes. We're living in a world today that time matters, and they know that at DeSoto Auto Sales. Again, the website's DeSotoAutoSales.com, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience on Goodman Road at DeSoto Auto Sales.
This time slot, we always talk to our friend from collegetopro.com. That would be Bo Marchant. And Bo, we're here to really be with you because this is hard. Not only
end of an era
is Ben gone for this year, maybe forever, but then you made a move today, and a guy that I know you have absolutely zero faith in. Our own Paxton Lynch was signed to your practice squad today. He's your next guy. I mean, if anything were to happen,
I don't remember you being that hard on
to
Paxton.
Mason Rudolph, and I don't even know
who's the next guy.
Who?
That would be Hodges, Delvin Hodges.
Devlin Hodges.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about him.
It's our guy. It's Paxton.
Bo, I don't remember you being anti-Paxton.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know what? When me and Dave talked, I think one of the weeks during the summer when it was just me and him, we were talking about the backup
crushed him when I wasn't
for the
here.
Seahawks. And I just said I didn't think he was going to win that backup job for the Seahawks. And
Well,
I said,
he
hey, he was my number one guy coming out that year.
Bo, why don't you just tell the truth? You just said, I've watched him. He can't do it. He can't.
No, he can't do it. Listen, I had his back. I mean, I was the lead blocker for this kid coming out of college.
Me too.
And, And he wasn't, he couldn't win the job in camp against Trevor Siemian and all these guys. I mean, he had every opportunity, and he just never showed it. And when you have that first round tag label, I mean, you're going to get the benefit of the doubt, but that doubt couldn't even be benefited because he was, so bad. But hey, I think the thing with the Steelers and with Roethlisberger is, if Mason Rudolph shows up and shows a pulse that, he can be that guy that they envisioned when they took him last year with the third-round pick. I think that's the difficulty for the Steelers. I mean, do they want Ben to come back and be Ben? Of course they do. But the trickery is Mason Rudolph. And, I like to think of like Dick LeBeau when they didn't really, he retired, but it was more of a force out, like, hey, we can not, retain you, or you can say, you're going to resign from your position and kind of, do some other things. And we saw Dick LeBeau immediately go to Tennessee because the Steelers wanted to make a change, but they have, it's an organization that doesn't really want to say, hey, we don't want you anymore. Can we kind of work out something where it's applicable for both parties? I don't know if it'll get that way with Ben because he has such a strong relationship with this front office. But at the end of the day, if Mason shows up and plays well, then they're going to have a little bit of a headache on their hands next year.
More surprised with all the veteran quarterback moves, the way it looks like it could be ending for Big Ben, almost identical to how it ended for Terry Bradshaw back in the early 80s, or the announcement today by the Giants. I don't know if I was that surprised that they made this move, maybe a little surprised after week 2 for how it's ending for Eli or how it's ending for Big Ben. Which one surprises you the most?
I'm surprised. I think the Giants believe the roster was a little better, and that's why they said they were going to stick with Eli. I can't believe they pulled the plug so early on the thing, and I think that goes a little bit about Daniel Jones showing some, he looked good during the preseason, training camp. He was doing everything that you want that guy to be with the 6th overall pick. I think the Giants thought, hey, and we talked about this. I thought it would take a little longer. I didn't think Eli was going to be the problem when they made this choice, but I think it was just coming down. We knew New York wasn't a very good football team. The losses were going to stack up. Then when you make the call, I thought it would be a few weeks from now, at least after week 5, before they did something like this. But at the end of the day, and if you watch Pat Shurmur or you listen to his press conference last week, he distinctively mentioned Josh Allen making a play where he ran the ball. And we know that is not the forte of Eli Manning, especially at his age, 35. And I just think he was kind of setting the signal that, hey, there's things that I want to do as the head coach offensively that Eli can't do. And he may not be, we know he's not as seasoned as Eli, but those little plays where he wants this guy to do some RPO or he wants him to scramble out of the pocket to make, pocket to do certain things, Eli cannot do that. And I think that was the moment where you could have said to yourself, this could be coming. And lo and behold, it did. But at the end of the day, it's sad because anytime you see a legend, a guy that's, it happens to everybody, but you just never want to see that time come. And, at least Ben, you're hurt. You don't know if you'll ever come back. I mean, he could come back from that, but it's a little different from, now Eli, if, he has a no trade clause. So it's not like the Giants can just call somebody and say, hey, anybody want this guy? He's going to have to approve it. He has 4 kids under the year, 8 years old. So does he want to move that way? So there's a lot of moving parts in terms of if Eli's going to stay, in New York, if New York would even elect, I'm sure they'll come to him and say, hey, do you want out? Can we try to move you if that's what you want, just to help you? Because when you're Eli Manning, and barring injuries to Daniel Jones, I don't really think he wants to sit for the next 14 weeks of the season. So, I don't know if Eli will end up somewhere different, and it's going to be interesting for the rest of the year, just between Eli and then how Mason Rudolph performs for the Steelers.
We looked at Eli's numbers earlier. I'm sure you know him. Hall of Famer?
I think you have to put him in the Hall of Fame, and people can, he's been INT pro in his entire career. He's had some bad years, but at the end of the day, he has 2 Super Bowls, and people, if they don't want to make too much about that, but he has all the gaudy numbers too. He plays his era was in a pass-happy National Football League, and his, if Phillip Rivers is going to get in, then I would say Eli gets in. So if Kurt Warner gets in with 1 ring and almost being out of football, I'd say, that was
MVP
never the case
of the league for Kurt Warner. I will defend Kurt Warner.
I know
front. Eli never has been. I don't think it's a tough debate, but it's one that I wouldn't have any problem if somebody gave me the debate against Eli. I wouldn't have trouble with that. but I would much more relish debating that he's in, and I think he'll be in. It just won't be that first
Well,
class.
I agree with you, but if we go back to the Kurt Warner thing, here's one thing I know for sure.
That story.
That team would never have won without Kurt Warner. That Giants team, we could say, with all the talent they had on the defensive side, they might have won even with a different quarterback.
Yeah, but just so hard to know.
Yeah.
Just so hard to know. And a great, not just that defense, but a great running game with Big O Jacobs and Bradshaw. But Eli stepped up in those NFC Championship games and on Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be enough. Now, you can also say this, Jim Plunkett won 2 Super Bowls too. And he's not in.
No.
But I don't think and I knew we were going to go to Plunkett because he had the success late. But Eli's been he's lived up to the number
in
one
New York.
pick. I mean, he and in the big city. I mean, he's done everything you need to ask. He's never been a problem, and he has the lineage of one of the greatest football names out there. So I mean, you add in Archie, you add in Peyton. I mean, I'd even put up an argument. I mean, we look at all the losing seasons for the New Orleans Saints, but I mean, you talk about a guy that busted his tail in Archie Manning. That's why I get disappointed sometimes. You got your Dan Deerdorfs that played their entire lives on bad St. Louis Cardinal teams, and we just get caught up in rings and
Joe
and how
Thomas
much
was getting ready
won.
to go through it.
Yeah, we see it, and Steve Largent's another one. Not a lot of winning in Seattle while he was there, but fantastic numbers and a Hall of Famer. But I mean, I personally, I think you're going out of your way to argue if Eli's not a Hall of Famer.
I do too, but I don't dismiss those people. I really don't. But
No.
I think he will get in, and I don't think it's because of Dad or because of Big Brother. That cuts both ways too. There'd have been a lot of Eli Manning's football life if he had been Eli Jones. He would have stood a little more apart from Big Brother and from Dad, and would have been, maybe not quite the scrutiny.
I don't think you get drafted in the first round of the NFL.
Because your dad or your big brother.
Because
No.
of your dad or
no.
your big brother,
No.
buddy.
Ernie, of course,
he's
fell in
lived
love
up to
with
it, and like
his
I said,
senior year at Ole Miss.
you say the last name Manning, it just resonates with you. National Football League, great quarterback.
And Eli's personality, he always took it. It was that great NFL. I don't know what it was, but it was on NFL Network first, kind of following them through their summer training. That they'd kick off the training every year in Duke with David Cutcliffe, and Peyton just the ultimate perfectionist. And Cutcliffe is showing like a workout tape of them, and you need to work on your footwork here. And Peyton looks at Eli with that look. And then finally says something. He said, and Eli goes, "What?" He goes, "Quit chewing your ice so loud." And he was chewing ice, and it was getting on Peyton's nerves. And Eli would just take it. He's kind of just always taking it. And a lot of the criticism in New York, where a lot of times he was the punching bag when it's the ultimate team sport. I still say how Tiki Barber treated him, and even in victory, how Amani Toomer will still talk of him. But Michael Strahan will finally come to his defense. He's going to Canton someday, and it'll be a good ceremony. I just don't think it's going to be in that landslide first year like Big Brother.
Yeah, and if that's the case, so be it. The quarterbacks now, these guys are going to all have the numbers. This whole generation of quarterbacks that we see, they're all near the top of every passing category. And then, this next generation will, surpass them when their time comes. But at the end of the day, again, it's tick for tack. I would have to say, he's a first route ballot guy.
You would say
the
first
David
ballot.
Tyreek play. That was an incredible play.
Yeah, but David Tyree was on the other end of it. He had to go up and make the catch, but he did make the scramble. All right, in Pittsburgh, does this injury insulate any drumbeat of getting rid of Mike Tomlin? Now, does that cover him if they go 4-12? Well, he did it without Big Ben. Let's retool. Let's don't do anything stupid.
Yeah, internally, I know the voices outside of Pittsburgh, and they created the Tomlin, get rid of Mike Tomlin. Internally, there's a very cohesive, I think, relationship between Kevin Colbert and the Brunies and Tomlin, and I think they're on the same page. And Ben going down, it does give you a little bit of a pass, saying, hey, expectations have definitely changed. You can look at Vegas. You went from 14-1 to 100-1. So everybody, reality sets in that you do have a second-year quarterback. Things are going to be different than having a two-time Super Bowl champion quarterback under center. So, he will get the passing. the standard in certain cities. I mean, New England's kind of grown into that prior to Belichick. Really wasn't much of a history there. But the Steelers, when you go there, it's kind of like coaching in an Alabama and Ohio State. They don't want playoffs; they just want Vince Lombardi trophies. And I tell everybody, if you put Mike Tomlin in any other town, if you put Mike Tomlin in Tampa Bay with the same success, they would they would call him the Tampa Bay Tomlin.
Yeah.
So he, they 2 Super Bowls, won one, lost one, and we could say, well, this was Cowher's team or blah blah blah, but nonetheless, he's gotten there. He's never had a losing season. Do I question some plays? Of course I do, but I think you could go through every NFL city and you can question every coach. Why did this coach do this and why did the coach do that? But I think it's the aggravation because it's expectations, especially when before things unraveled last year. When you had Roethlisberger and you had Bell and you had Brown, you had a Ryan Shazier before his injury. Expectations were through the roof, and for a fan base that anything less than a title is unacceptable, you're going to have that backlash when things aren't going your way. So I think with the extension they gave him, I think that's their blessing. That hey, we're going to give you a couple more years, figure this out. And again, it's all going to be based around how well Mason Rudolph performs, and he's looked good. He looked good in camp. He was able to, jockey past, Joshua Dobbs, who they jettisoned off to Jacksonville, which now they got to, they probably wish they wouldn't have done that deal now. They could have kept the kid. But at the end of the day, if Mason plays well, you can't think you can think Super Bowl now. You're just talking some Cinderella stuff that's just not realistic. But, it's going to revolve around Mason Rudolph, and then I think Tomlin, bare minimum, is the head coach for the next 2 years.
Well, for our friends Keith Butler and Randy Fichtner, and Mike Tomlin for that matter, I hope you're right. And I should point out, Don Shula in the Dolphins' undefeated year, he actually had a couple of bad calls. He looked at the odds and it didn't work out.
You mentioned Mike Tomlin. Phil Stukenborg, who is just a legendarily great guy in our community, longtime member of the media, now in sports information at the University of Memphis. He was forever the Memphis Tigers football beat writer. He tells the story. I don't know if Mike Tomlin was here just a year or two, but however long he was here, there was not a single time of the day, and Phil would go over there at every time on the clock, early in the morning, late at night. He said if he went to the football offices, Mike Tomlin was there grinding away, working way back when on his way up.
Tommy West knew how to pick good guys, including Fichtner or Clay Helton. Tommy West
was a good football coach.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt about that.
And it goes back to Tomlin with Antonio Brown. To be able to kind of keep him under wraps for so long. Again, we talked about it last week, but you think about Oakland couldn't handle it for, an off season. They couldn't handle it. Tomlin was able to keep this pretty tight-lipped for so long. So, he has a way with the players. They respect him. And for everyone out there, I have friends that, love the Steelers, that despise Tomlin. But he is a great football mind. But I say he's just a good guy, and he's going to walk up to you while you're at practice on the sideline, and he's going to ask, how'd your kid do in cross country? And I said, those are the things that resonate. If you're going to go write an article, you're like, you're really probably not going to badmouth the guy because he just asked you how your kid was, at the local baseball game. So those are the type of things, and that's that family atmosphere. I think just that surrounds the Steelers as an environment. It's you don't want everybody just going along with the program. People will, if there's a story to be written, it will be wrote. But nonetheless, at the end of the day, it is a little bit of a family atmosphere, which I think at the end of the day is a good thing.
Great point. And Dave mentioned it yesterday about Jeremy Pruitt at Tennessee. You build up a reservoir of goodwill, and as you said, Bo, if there's a story that's got to be written, it will get into the public realm. It will have to be. It's your job. It's your responsibility. But a guy that's just a decent fellow to you, you don't forget that.
You don't.
I was hoping we wouldn't have to bring up Antonio Brown, but you already mentioned him. But enough of that. The new guy is Jalen Ramsey, who got into it with his coach Doug Marrone. Now he just said if they don't move him, he wants to play against Tennessee this week. So I don't know what his real message is. And this thing about players dissing coaches right in front of everybody and having to be restrained, that is not a good look for the league.
Tom Coughlin, I bet, can't stand that in the front office at Jacksonville.
Yeah. It's not a good sign. And, it goes back to these there's just so much money involved now where there's no consequence. You're going to get paid. I mean, look at Antonio Brown. I mean, you can act like such a fool, and yet you're going to go to, the defending Super Bowl champions. I mean, you didn't get $9 million guaranteed. No, Jalen Ramsey, and I texted Brett, for some reason this hit me. Not a lot of things really just strike a nerve with me, but when Ramsey arrived at camp in the armored truck, and basically your statement after the whole entire team, and you're the face of the defensive franchise, you say, I want paid. Not, we completely fell apart last season. We were, a quarter away from a Super Bowl. I'm here, not about the team. I'm just telling you right now, I want paid. It didn't resonate with me very well. And, these guys going after their coaches, it's just not a good thing. And the only thing I could think of, and we've seen NFL owners they did this with the Kaepernick thing where, they got together and, it might never be publicly said, but, they got together and said, hey, this guy's not going to earn a paycheck in the National Football League. And I'd say that's the only thing they could do is say, listen, if Antonio Brown thinks he can go make $15 million somewhere else, or if Jalen Ramsey, they could talk to the XFL, but they're not going to put that type of money into it. These guys can go play somewhere else. I mean, it's the largest, greatest sport in the United States. And if you don't want to be part of it and kind of go play by the rules,
that's right.
You know what? We're
Making
going to have to ask you to leave.
It's the great Hines Ward quote of all time. Nobody's making me play. They're not being forced to do it. And when you sign up for it in the team realm. All right, you got it last weekend. I won't get mine this year until late October during an Ole Miss open date. You did high school football Friday, college football Saturday, and the NFL Sunday. How much fun was it?
It was great. What the fun part is, you just see the advancement of each level. You see the high school kids do their thing, and maybe number 19 isn't really fast. He's trying to chase the receiver, and then you kind of get to the next level, and you see the college kids the bodies are bigger, it's faster, and then you arrive Sunday at Heinz Field, and you see Russell Wilson slinging it, and DK Metcalf, who looks like a monster, and you're like, wow, this is the end goal for what all those young men are doing is, trying to reach that pinnacle. So, yeah, I call it the trifecta weekend. It's always it's a blessing.
Glad you enjoyed it. You got a favorite game this week?
Well, I mean, covering the Steelers, I got to say, them flying out west for the 49ers.
Plenty going on.
Undefeated
49ers.
Boy, yeah. Garoppolo's drooling. He knows when he's got a team down.
He does.
Yeah. And then I think, I actually have another trifecta because I'll be going up north Lake Erie, and then watch a high school game, and then 3:30 at the Pitt Panthers. I think they take Virginia Tech on, or Virginia. So that'll be another
in Blacksburg.
Game. So,
no, Pitt plays UCF this week.
Yeah, that's it. Central Florida. That's it. Central Florida.
That's
so I'll be at the Central Florida game, Pitt game. So
you will be.
Bo, is DK Metcalf too big?
You know what? People are going to be like, get this guy off the air. Up close, he actually doesn't look like that photo that we've all seen. I know that might sound crazy, but when we're walking through the locker room afterwards for the Seattle side, you see him. You're like, wow, that's an impressive frame. I mean, that's massive right there. But you don't, you're looking at all these, you're looking at Chris Carson, and he's ripped up, and you're looking at Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner's, his shoulders are about three of me wide. So I guess you just staring at him in that photo, you do that. Wow, this guy's crazy. But when you see him up close, is he impressive? Yes, but surrounded by, I guess, 52 other guys that play in the National Football League, I guess it kind of blends a little bit.
And a great young guy. I hope he has a big career.
Oh. And by the way,
he's starting off well.
Yeah.
UCF 13.5-point favorites over your Panthers.
and UCF blasted Pitt last year.
And UCF scores 30 points every time they play.
Bo, have a great weekend. Enjoy another trifecta of high school, college, and pro. That's fun. Thanks, man.
Yep. Have a great week, guys.
You got
Thank you, Bo. We appreciate it. This portion of the show brought to you by John Conway. Conway Services. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, of course, the tankless water heater. And really, they're the ones that get your energy bill down. And they're saying to you right now, why do you have old technology? Get in 2019, 2020. Get a Carrier. They got a deal right now. Carrier and Conway have teamed up to replace your old energy guzzler air conditioning system, which may be wobbly. It's 97 degrees right now. Feels like over 100 with the humidity. Right now, during these still dog days of summer, you can get that Carrier for as low as $99 a month. That's right. Conway with Carrier offers unbelievable technology for as low as $99 a month, and everybody can afford that. Plus, you know John, he cooks up stuff for free, like a 10-year parts warranty or the free Nest thermostat. That's the newest in technology when it comes to thermostats, and you always get the Conway award-winning service. Just make the call, 384-3511, 384-3511. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. We'll take a break. When we come back, Steve Earhart from the AutoZone Liberty Bowl will join us. The Big Cheese head honcho is really excited because they've got this new thing that I think at this moment only their game will have. It's a new app that will allow you to predict what the coaches are going to call. He'll explain in just a minute on Sports Time with Wolo and Stats.
Search Sports 56 on Facebook and give us a like. And follow us on Twitter at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Looking for a great place to deposit your money? Try First Bank. Competitive CD rates, a money market that moves with Wall Street prime and interest-bearing checking account options. Not to mention their friendly bankers who make decisions locally. To find out more, stop by one of First Bank's 3 local branches. 6482 Poplar Avenue, just east of International Paper. 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase. And 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or visit firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC.
Frontier Western Store's world-famous boot showroom is waiting for you. With aisles and aisles of boots in one easy spot, you will find your next favorite pair at Frontier. Everyone loves Ariat boots, and Frontier has over 1,000 pair in that brand alone. Come grab a pair of rugged work boots like the Workhog, or discover an everyday classic in Ariat's Rambler. Tons of other brands as well: Rocky, Dan Post, Red Wing, Durango, Justin, Twisted X, and many more. Frontier constantly restocks and refreshes their lineup of boots, so you're certain to walk out of the store happy in your new comfortable footwear. They have a wide assortment of sizes available for men, women, and children. Work, dress, or play, Frontier's knowledgeable staff will cheerfully help you find the perfect fit. It's boots galore at Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road, Olive Branch, or on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Family owned and operated, you know it, since 1967.
Did you know Davis Motorhome Mart is one of the top 10 Tiffin dealers in the U.S.? Come tour the 7.5 acres of beautiful travel trailers, motorhomes, fifth wheels, and toy haul or towables half-tons. Motorhomes from 27 feet up to 45 feet from brands like Winnebago, Coachman, Puma, Highland Ridge, and Tiffin. Take advantage of Davis Motorhome Mart's big blowout sale on 2019s and 2020s on their way. Stop by your gateway to travel freedom. Davis Motorhome Mart at 1145 East Brooks Road in Memphis. Call 901-332-3414 and cruise by the website davismotorhomes.com.
Hi friends, Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Jewelers. Did you know that September has one of the most beautiful and desirable birthstones of all the gemstones that nature created? That's right, the sapphire is September's birthstone, and if your lady has a birthday this month or an anniversary, a stunning gift of jewelry with a gorgeous blue sapphire in it would make you brownie points for a long time. A ring or a bracelet, earrings or a pendant, you cannot make a mistake with a little box from Russell Brothers that has an exquisite piece of sapphire and diamond jewelry right in the center. And when she puts it on and you see that smile, you will know that you made the perfect selection. Fine jewelry is never out of style, and a gift from our large collection of sapphire jewelry accented with diamonds will keep her eyes sparkling for a long time. At Russell Brothers Jewelers, we've been offering the finest in beauty, quality, value, and service to Memphians and Mid-Southerners for almost 35 years. Come see us and let us show you what a full-service jewelry store looks like. Russell Brothers Jewelers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins.
Sundays and Mondays are special at the Butcher Shop, celebrating over 35 years of serving the Mid-South by giving a big thank you to you, their loyal customers. You can come in, relax, watch your favorite games, and enjoy hand-cut steaks along with a premium bar. Sunday and Monday nights from 5 until 8:30, you can get select entrees for $25. That includes a salad, baked potato, and bread, and you don't have to pick one, you get all three. Some of those entrees are 10-ounce New York strip steak, slow-roasted prime rib, Atlanta Atlantic salmon with dill sauce, marinated grilled chicken breast, grilled boneless pork chops, and crab stuffed shrimp. Plus, all appetizers and desserts are 20% off. Don't forget, Hamburger Friday every Friday from 11 to 2. It's the best. The Butcher Shop, always a Memphis tradition. Call 901-757-4244, 901-757-4244 for more information, or just stop in at 107 South Germantown Parkway in Cordova.
Welcome back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in. We are about to be joined by Steve Earhart. You may
I hit it a little
heard
soon. I'm sorry. It was me, Steve. I'm sorry.
In the background, he's got to be excited. He's got this new technology thing.
Here's what
which is amazing, because technology for him isn't necessarily like his strongest point that I can remember.
Well, Steve, he's coming along, and also
I had to tell him seriously, Steve. We were trying to get him to navigate, and I said, "What kind of phone you got?" And he told me, and I said, "All you got to do is go,
Dave,
navigate me to."
Now, Dave, I had somebody on an official Tiger travel party last year tell me that you have trouble putting in the coordinates for GPS occasionally.
That is not true.
Well,
all I got to do is go Siri, direct me, or it used to be, okay, Google. That's a lie.
You cannot get lost now, can you?
No.
I mean, if you're lost now, you're really working on it. You're trying.
No. I always, and by the way, I'm the driver, so I rely on Dan O'Brien. He's the navigator.
But that was the consternation, is he put in the wrong coordinates, and used to, that was the whole.
Dan O'Brien did, not me.
No, Dan didn't tell me this story, but I heard it from.
I listened to my navigator.
But
when I go solo, I let the phone do it. And I told you about my new lower screen thing where it just gives me the direction.
Here's another thing. We bring Steve on now. Here's another thing I know Steve's excited about. 4 wins away from the potential of Les Miles in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl representing the Big 12.
Absolutely, Stats. I was watching that game on Friday night and cheering for Les Miles there. I was hoping he had a little bit of grass in his teeth there.
He should be 3-0. He really should be.
Yeah, well, they blew that game to Coastal Carolina, but that, I think, just shows the vagaries and the up and downs of college football with 19 to 22-year-old kids, running around the field. You never know what happens. But, yeah, that Kansas hadn't been to a bowl game in forever, and so if they can sneak out a few more wins, that would be great.
If they got 4 wins, would that be the team you would really go after? Because we know you're never getting Texas. We've already been through that scenario. Let's just say like a Texas Tech might be out there for you with a better record. But would you want to go for a bowl team that hasn't not been to a bowl in forever and has a character like Les Miles? Would that be better for your bowl?
Well, I think you hit it right on the head. I certainly can't, because probably your show is being listened to or taped all over the country. One time I got somebody from Florida said, well, you said this on Woloshin's show, and I got to be careful, but they would certainly be very attractive, and that would be great to have a team that, had all that pent-up emotion, and for the economy of the Mid-South here to bring all those Kansas folks down here. And you remember a couple of years ago when we had Iowa State, and when they were playing the University of Memphis, they just inundated the town, and when Kansas State was here a few years ago, they brought a great group, and actually, we went down and watched the Kansas State at Mississippi State game, and Kansas State now is surprising a lot of people. They got that brand new coach, it was interesting in the post game press conference. They said that he's now won 17 or 18 games in a row, because he's always won those national championships in North Dakota State.
North Dakota State, yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's more than that.
That's in the Southern Illinois University League. By the way, you mentioned Jacobs from the Giants.
SIU.
One of the proud SIU
Auburn
guys.
transfer.
Yeah, I know.
Auburn transfer.
But where did he get his degree?
You're going to have good options from the Big 12 for sure, and we feel like from the SEC. But tell everybody about the new technology that we can enjoy.
Yeah. Plug this big. I mean, it's kind of funny. It's coming from you, but you're going to tell us about this new technology.
Well, I'll try to shorthand it here, but it really is interesting. A great article today in the Memphis Business Journal. They were actually interviewing the folks up in Boston about the technology, but I'd known Randy Vataha, remember the wide receiver from Stanford, and then also
Bob Caparell. The two of them had been owners of the New England, the Boston Breakers there in the USFL, and so we'd stayed in touch over the years. And they're involved with this company called Your Call Football. It's been developed by a company that's widely renowned, Forrester Research. There, they've spent millions of dollars building the technology to be able to have, and I may be using the right words here, to be able to instantly communicate to everybody's cell phone in between plays, so that, say, if somebody's watching the game on ESPN, watching the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, they're sitting in Omaha, Nebraska, and when it pops up, it's 3rd down and 10 to go, then you'll get 6 choices of what play that he is going to predict or prognosticate. Either it's be a pass left or right in a deep or short, or, run left or right. And then you've got, the ball's marked for play, and then they get it out immediately to your handheld device, and you punch in the button. Do you think he's going to run left? And if you're right, you get so many points. And then if it's a gaining play, then you get double points. And if you're wrong, of course, you don't get anything. And so you're basically, you're playing against the coaching calls on the field, and this was popularized. I remember Tony Romo on CBS. He was
calling the plays.
He was basically calling the plays. So everybody's thinking, well, I can be a coach, I can make the play call, and so this will enable the folks at home to be playing, and they figure out games that they want to play against each other, and then there'll be prizes and gifts and that kind of thing for the people that are winning. And people ask, well, what about if somebody's in the stadium, and there's a 5-second delay from the ESPN to the ESPN telecast, but they've got the technology to fence off, geo-fence off, or whatever the right words are, the stadium. So it'll be an awful, I think, fun way to watch the game. Plus, those of us in college football are working hard to get the millennials, the young people who are just on their phones 100% of the time. I know a lot of people, whenever they're watching TV or watching a football game, they're playing on their phones, either with their fantasy team, or they're talking to somebody else or texting somebody else. So we found that that's, I think, a good way to capture more people to be involved with watching the AutoZone Liberty Bowl and having fun with the game and being engaged. I think that's the best word. So this company's been working on it for some time, and we'll be the only bowl game. We'll be the pioneer bowl game to be using the technology this year. So we're real proud of that.
Steve, it's coming that way. Everybody's got to get involved. You mentioned Randy Vataha, and we had just gotten through talking about Eli Manning and the 2 Super Bowl and the 2 Super Bowl MVPs. Jim Plunkett, Randy Vataha's college quarterback at Stanford that won the Heisman Trophy, he had to their senior year, Steve. You got to bring this up with Randy Vataha. I'd love to get him on and talk to him.
Okay.
His senior year, Stanford opened their season in Little Rock against Arkansas in a 34-28 win.
Is that right? I didn't know that, but I certainly watched Randy catching all those passes from Jim Plunkett on that Rose Bowl team. I think they won the Rose Bowl, and then they both end up playing for the
Patriots.
At that time it was the Boston Patriots, and they were playing in Boston, and Randy had a great long career, and of course Jim Plunkett too. I heard you guys talking about whether Plunkett should be in the Hall of Fame, but Randy and Bob Caparell, they've been working on this technology, and some really smart people, much smarter than I, because there's a lot of talk about how will this be used, because everybody now is, and again, we're trying to stay away from the gambling aspect of it, but there's no question that this kind of technology in the future, whether it's applied to golf events or to different television events. And, when you look at America's Got Talent, those of your listeners, I watch that show, and they're always having people on their handheld devices voting while the acts are playing, and that's kind of the wave of the future. So I think that's why it's going to be so interesting, and I invite people. We'll be getting out the information of how you get your app. It's all free, and you get your AutoZone Liberty Bowl app, and then you just check in when you're watching the game on TV. You're looking at your big screen, and then you got your handheld, and the ball is marked for play, and then you have 10 seconds, I believe, but all you have to do is punch a button. So you got to be just like the coach in the booth, making ready to call your play the same amount of time.
You're actually, you said earlier you're going against the coach, but you're really not. What you're trying to do is guess what that coach is going to call, because if you guess right, you get points, which end up getting you prizes or cash, however all of this works out. Now, let me ask you this. Is this the the technology that the Alliance of American Football was going to use that never did?
No, from what I understand, and I tried to look at that because we were already well down the road talking to the Your Call people and to Boston Company where the high-tech, a lot of high-tech developments going on, and it's totally different kind of technology. And again, I couldn't explain from an engineering point of view why it's so different, but when I looked at what the Alliance was trying to sell, it's almost like following the players on the field, like the old the games where you'd rattle the players down the field. This is the predicting the plays. And you're right, David, you made a good point. It's you're trying to be like a coach at home and see how smart you are or how effective you are, and if you're calling good plays against the defenses in the down and distance. So we really hope to engage folks and really have an enjoyment out of watching the game.
I think it's cool, and I think it's got a chance to work. I really do.
Is this all out of MIT in Boston, Steve?
Well, I don't know that at MIT, but the company, as I say, it's Forrester Research, and a guy named George Colony. I think he's well renowned as he's the founder and chairman of this Forrester Research, which is a company that does all kinds of analytics and research development for big companies on trying to figure out technologies. And so he's a big football fan. So some years ago, he wanted to try and blend in the business of football with integration of things like Madden football or fantasy football and all these kinds of things that so many people are interested in. Because I look back, 15 years ago, there wasn't any fantasy football or FanDuel or what's the name of the other company, that is using technology that, again, the younger generation is just so into. So, and again, one of the things that they experimented with was actually they had enough technology so that they could get, say 100,000 people are playing at one time, because we've got, we peaked last year at 6.4 million viewers watching the AutoZone Liberty Bowl.
Wow.
But say you have 100,000 people sitting at home playing that, and one of their thoughts was that they could say, okay, in that 10-second time period, if enough people voted for, screen left, then they would then call that into the field instead of having the coach in the booth call it, say, are the majority vote of 100,000 people, is that smarter than one guy up in the booth? Now, we knew we couldn't do that. The coaches would never go for that. But, down the road, it'll be interesting to see how this gets applied. I know the company, we're the pioneer with them, but they're going to be talking, they're already in talks with the NFL about, using it in the Pro Bowl this year. And, as stiff in a state as the NFL is, it'll probably take them a while to, get it used in the NFL. But I remember back in the USFL days when we were using instant replay, and the NFL told us that was baloney and they would never use that, and you guys in the USFL don't know what you're doing by having instant replay. And so now every day is instant replay, and now they've even progressed to having instant replay on whether there's pass interference or not. And college football is certainly doing the same with reviewing targeting calls and using technology. So I think it's a coming trend in both pro football and college football.
I'll tell you, a league, you know who'd do something like that if they figured out a way to do something? Would be the NBA. They're the ones that are the innovators.
They're
much far ahead of anybody else. All right, so that sounds cool. I think it's got a chance to work, and I know we'll talk more about that as we get closer. Tell me now, you guys do projections all the time. You don't love airing them, but now that we've got 3 weeks under our belt, do you think, seriously, if you look at schedules, do you think you'll have enough SEC teams if Missouri doesn't get eligible?
Boy. Well, there's a lot of ifs in that, but I think the Missouri.
Well, the Missouri thing isn't an if. Right now, they're not eligible.
That's right.
That's true. All right, but they're hopeful that they'll be freed from the jail of the NCAA. But I hear your.
I'm
question.
hopeful I'll be 6'6".
Normally, I'd say, Your Honor, we don't answer hypothetical questions in this courtroom, but I will try and answer that and say that it's going to be very close, because I think a lot will depend on stats. You're the expert. You're down at the Grove every week. Can Ole Miss, if they beat California, I think they've got a good chance of getting their 6. Now, this is a big game for the Rebels, and so we'll be watching that one closely.
Will you be there or Harold?
I'm not sure. We haven't decided yet.
Bring Dave with you since he's got open date this week.
That's right.
No excuses, Dave. Come to the Grove.
Has Dave ever been caught dead in the Grove? Tiger Dave, or
He's allowed to come down there. We treat him great.
I got to tell you something. I have gone to many an Ole Miss game and partied incognito in the
incognito.
Grove.
He had his blue shirt underneath his Rebel Red there, but
that's right, Steve.
And then a lot depends too on how it folds out. But I think there's a lot of parity in the SEC after you get past Alabama, and I don't know how good LSU is. We'll find out. They look pretty good with their quarterback performing, and so it depends on if the South Carolinas and the Kentuckys. Mississippi State, I think, is going to be okay. I know a lot of people are panicked down there, but that Kansas State is a good, solid team. And last year they had a little down year, but remember, for 10, 15 years in a row, they were right up at the top with Bill Snyder. They were winning the conference and going to bowl games every year, and they played well in our bowl game when they played Arkansas. But Kansas State is potentially, they're going to be bowl eligible as well this year. So that's on the Big 12 side. But back to the SEC, I think a lot depends on how some of these teams in the quote middle of the pack, Vandy and Arkansas, we've already talked about. They got a tough road to hoe, but everybody else is I think got a good shot. And again, stats. I was impressed with what Ole Miss did against Arkansas, but did they show some signs last week? I didn't get a chance to watch that game.
Yeah, a few steps back last week, but a chance to improve this week for sure. Steve, thanks so much. We'll visit again next Tuesday and look forward to it. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thanks for that. I'll get Boat Belocian to start training on his technology there.
I will. Thank you, Steve.
Okay.
Safe trip
Thank
to
you,
wherever
guys.
you. Maybe you're going to where Kansas is. That
We got to keep a watch on the state of Kansas.
We do.
They're fired up, both Kansas and Kansas State.
There you go.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Steve Earhart.
Steve Earhart with the AutoZone Liberty Bowl every Tuesday with us. I want to tell you about Williams Equipment Supply. They are your homegrown, locally owned, #1 in compact construction equipment, and they've represented the Bobcat Company for 50 years. Bobcat Company, the industry leader in compact loaders and excavators, support American manufacturing. Buy, lease, or rent Bobcat equipment. Williams Equipment Supply, the largest compact equipment dealer in the Mid-South with 9 locations. They have the largest inventory of equipment, attachments, parts, the largest compact rental fleet, the best technicians, and the most locations. Whether you buy, lease, or rent, let Williams Equipment help you out at a price that you can afford. They stock the widest range of Bobcat attachers, augers, hydraulic breakers, angle brooms, sweepers, brush, rotary cutters, hydraulic clamps. They've got it all at Williams Equipment Supply. For a demonstration or more details, call Cody Bumpus, your North Mississippi Bobcat specialist. Cody's cell is 901-508-8739. And in Memphis, the Memphis area Bobcat specialist, it's Sam Watson. Call Sam's cell at 901-326-6429. Williams Equipment Supply, the largest compact equipment dealer in the Mid-South with 9 great locations.
And this portion of the show also brought to you by Soulfish. Soulfish Cafe numero uno when it comes to catfish. Well, that's no-brainer. Numero uno when it comes to soulfish. Or I should say soul food, excuse me. Soul food, it's soulfish. It's pretty spectacular. And numero uno when it comes to seafood. They have the best shrimp you ever put in your mouth. Try the shrimp tacos. Everything's made from scratch. 3 different categories, #1. That's just hard to believe, but it's true. And there's another one, not counting the ones already that are in Little Rock and the one that's in Oxford now. They've got 4 in Memphis. They started in Cooper Young. They went to the shops with Forest Hill Irene in Germantown, right on the Collierville border. Then they opened up one in East Memphis. That's the one I go to all the time. Got friends going there tonight. That one is just east of Perkins on Poplar in the old Wolf Chase, in the old Wolf Camera location. But now, how about this? Now they have one in Wolf Chase, and it's killing it. I think it had more sales than any of the other stores last week. People are just finding out more and more about Soulfish. Go find out for yourself. If you love seafood, soul food, or catfish, you're going to love Soulfish Cafe. Back with a wrap, including Crunch Time, coming your way in a minute on Sports Time with Wolo and Stats.
Get happy with Johnny Radio's Happy Hour. Weekday afternoons from 1 till 3 on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. School's back in. Are the kids going to be running out of hot water every morning? Or worse, are you going to be out of hot water by the time they leave? It may be time for a tankless water heater from Conway Services that never runs out of hot water. At Conway Services, we're making now the perfect time to replace that old energy-guzzling tanked water heater with a new tankless water heater with 24 months to pay, interest-free. Or I'll give you $250 for that old tanked water heater. These energy-saving models only heat the water you use, saving you money on your gas bill every month. And you know with Conway Services, you'll be receiving our award-winning service every time. And no more worrying about that tank bursting in your attic either. See why I say now's the perfect time? Call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier tankless water heater professionals at 384-3511. That's 384-3511. And the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old water heater, we'll come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Are you tired of all the clouds and bad weather? Rain brings pollutants that can wreak havoc on your car's finish, but there is someone who can help. Car Wash USA Express has introduced their most advanced car wash yet with the exclusive Polymer Pro Wash, creating a stronger, more consistent protective sealant for your car's finish. Polymer Pro can only be found at Car Wash USA Express, where attendants are always on duty to keep you and your vehicle safe. For more information and locations, visit carwashusaexpress.com. Car Wash USA Express, because a dirty car is a dirty shame.
Hey everybody, this is Coach Penny Hardaway. There's a comfort in being home, and to me, comfort food and family makes Memphis the place to be, along with having the best basketball fans in America. I like pulling into Corky's and getting one of their family party packs. How can you go wrong with pork, beans, slaw, sauce, and buns for only $5.99 a person? It is so easy. I can call ahead, order online, or just pop in. Tailgating can't get any easier. Tell them Penny sent you.
Encore flavor, Corky's barbecue.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Hi, folks. Rob Walker, Infinity of Memphis, and we've got a new Infinity crossover vehicle that has raised the standard of comparison to a new level. Imagine having both sports car performance and eco-friendly efficiency on demand, working together to empower every driving experience. The result of 20 years of engineering, QX50's award-winning variable compression turbo engine is the world's only engine of its kind. Like two engines in one, it delivers a combination of power and efficiency that is truly in a category all its own, and only Infinity has it. You'll never sacrifice performance for the sake of efficiency again. And QX50 MSRP starts at only $36,550, which is less than its Acura, Audi, and Mercedes competitors. Add to that QX50's award-winning sumptuous interior, and you have the best combination of performance and comfort in the mid-size crossover segment.
MSRP excludes destination charge, tax, title, license, and options. Infinity of Memphis or online at infinityofmemphis.com.
Welcome back to Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
Final portion brought to you by Homer. Homer Skelton Hyundai and Olive Branch, full of assurance. You know, the shopper assurance. Go talk to Chris Drew about that. And, of course, the Hyundai Assurance. That's 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty on all of their new products. But I got to tell you, their old products, the certified pre-owns, that's Ray Melton's department, they're really good too. They've won Best Certified Pre-Owned Car Dealership in the Memphis area for 11 years in a row. They're working on 12. They're already leading in the sales department. It's just amazing. It's why it's worth the ride. All you got to do is get on Lamar. You get into Mississippi, turn left at Craft Road. That's the first exit, and you'll see all the gang. You'll see really the marriage of technology and service. You'll see the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai. It's time for Crunch Time.
This is Geraldo. It is crunch time.
You are looking live. It's crunch time. In your life have you seen anything like that?
We'll take questions again for the student athletes at this time, please.
He's a professional. He's pretty classy for his age.
In the crunch time, that's the frustrating part.
Little Penny could make some appearances this year.
Okay, I'm not huge into stats.
Has it always been this way? It's crunch time, so I got a different mind state.
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
Is this thing working?
Immediately when the buzzer sounds, he lets out this shriek.
You throw those ears forward. He was in stroke mode.
It's obviously crunch time.
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day. Dave learned today, real change into the guard. Big Ben probably done. Eli probably done. Adam Vinatieri may be done. That's some big names in history of the NFL. What have you learned today?
I basically learned you can't last forever. Even Adam Vinatieri, the great kicker,
He hit us both.
has thinking about retiring after he's missed 7 kicks, including
Father
2
time.
extra points in the last 3 games.
He doesn't go away. What you could have done with that today?
I could have done without this story. Jalen Ramsey wants to be traded, but he also wants to play on Thursday night against the Titans if he's still a member of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then he says, but he doesn't want to be a distraction. What?
Oh, sorry.
What?
You've kind of already become that. I could have done without the Nationals without a save since the 16th of August. It puts a lot of pressure on that great starting rotation they have. If they had a bullpen, they would be hard to top. Keeping a close eye tonight on the Brewers hosting the Padres. Gio Gonzalez versus Chris Paddock in that one. Should be full tonight in Milwaukee on a Tuesday night in September. Thank you, wild card. Sonny Gray for the Reds at Wrigley. Yu Darvish. He can really change his profile with a lot of Cubs fans with how he finishes this year.
Like, basically, if he doesn't lose again, they'll love him.
They'll love him. Justin Verlander going for number 19. Stuck on 14 for a long time against Justin Verlander tonight is Lance Lynn. He got win number 12 in late June, only added 2 to that since then. Patrick Corbin for the Nats against the Cardinals at Busch Stadium.
Corbin, baby. He's really good. Of course, I'm watching that. I'm going to also watch the AAA All-Star Game. I thought about going down, but it's going to be on FS1. I got a lot of stuff I'm doing.
I got a lot of weekends.
I actually would like to sort of see the new field because, they put in this new field. I'll see it at a 901 FC game here
next Tuesday night.
A
makeup game a week from tonight for 901 FC
with Pittsburgh, and I'm doing the game.
I may be there.
Very
Trying
good.
to catch a late game.
Very good.
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm not going tonight. I feel like I'm being disloyal
I do
to
too.
them.
I kind of do too.
I can't squeeze it in.
Well, you know what? If it wasn't on FS1, I think I would have gone. But I can see it, and I can try to watch the Cubs and hopefully watch the Brewers and the Cardinals.
Go hungry
fall.
if you're going to AutoZone Park tonight.
Oh yeah, because if you buy a ticket, it's free barbecue nachos.
You can eat a lot tonight
for the whole shooting match.
How about this game late tonight? Late tonight. Tampa Bay Rays at Dodger Stadium, going for back-to-back 90-win seasons for Kevin Cash. That 2-year body of work, phenomenal. With that payroll, those limitations,
it's amazing. It is. Well, that lineup is great. You just look at them. If they were a little bit better defensively, that may be their Achilles. They're just
America. Are we braced for a Rays World Series?
A what World Series?
A Tampa Bay Rays in the World Series. Are we? Would we want that?
I wouldn't care.
I wouldn't mind. Wouldn't bother me at all. We'll talk to TJ about it tomorrow.
I have no problem with that. By the way, TJ Reeves, Patrick Garvin on Georgia Notre Dame, Chris Raby tomorrow, maybe some other surprises. Thanks to Gabe Kuhn, Brent Beard, Jeff Moore, Beau Marchant, Steve Earhart. It was a lot of fun today, and you know what? We will do this again tomorrow afternoon. Have a great night, everybody.
Need physical therapy but don't know where to go? Tried physical therapy but had a bad experience? Grab your physician's referral and head to Revolution Physical Therapy at the corner of Goodman and Get